It is time. It is time. It is time. It is tasty, tasty Tuesday. It feels like a thirsty Thursday because I am thirsty, but it is Tuesday. Oh man, these during this whole lockdown, man, these weeks are just flying by. It seems like we just didn't do this recently, but it felt like we have. But I'm not complaining. I wish I could do it every day. But tonight's going to be something special. We're going to be looking at one of my favorite distilleries. As you can probably tell, my lower desk area is filled with nothing but Lagavulin. And we've done a lot in the past. We've done started with an 8-year, which is a straightforward bourbon cask. We've done the 9, which is both, I believe, bourbon and sherry. I have to go back to notes, but a little more closer to the 16 than the 8. And then you've also got the 10 travel retail exclusive. We'll just skip that one. I'm not going to dog it, but it's probably my least favorite of the Lagavulin series. The 11, the Offerman edition, I did enjoy. A little spicy, a little oakier than usual. You have to be in the mood for something. I wouldn't say it's aggressive, but it's definitely got a bit more of a bite to it. It's not alcohol bite, but oaky, woody bite. The 12-year cask strength, always a great one. I've never had a bad version of that. The normal 16-year-old that everyone usually sees that likes Isle whiskey. It's quintessential. It belongs in every bar, pretty much. I don't think I've ever run into someone that did not enjoy a Lagavulin 16 that has ever tried one. I mean, I'm sure there are some people that don't like peated Scotch that might not enjoy it, but people that do enjoy peated Scotch, I've never heard of someone not enjoying that particular one. But we'll see how it goes. Hey guys, good to see you guys. There's Steven and Jason and Juan Katia and it's Top Shelf. Good to see you as well. Getting our Peter McKellen's ready. Here comes Dustin. Oh man. If we're gonna start talking about peated water, man, we're gonna be in some trouble. Let me take care of some business behind the scenes real fast. Apologize for the slight delay. I'm gonna try something here. Hopefully this will work out. 1 second. Let me send Malt an invite too on the side here, and Hey, good to see you there. Got a newly purchased Lagavulin 16 ready. It's been a while since I've had, so looking forward to this. Yeah, it's funny because I'll be getting into the weeds with you guys, but it's funny how we take it for granted. I think some of these that we run, we go along our way on our whiskey journey, and some will end up loving, some will end up being like, it's okay, it's not bad, it's just not something that you seek. But let me take care of something on the side here. 1 second. I've got to try something I'm trying to do here. Here we go. And good. Okay, sorry about that. Anyway, let me get my volume back up here, and one last little thing. But yeah, I think we take Lagavulin 16 as a good example, and I feel the same way about like Londronic 12. Same way about maybe Kalila 12. Some of the ones that we kind of rush by, we enjoy it, but we enjoy it so much that we blur past it and we go on to like the next step up, like your Londronic 15 revivals, and your for Lagavulin it could be either the Distiller's Edition or the 12 cask strength. That's a typical like next step up, or even official bottle, which is going to be the 18. We'll be taking a look at on the side tonight. On the second hour, it's an 18-year from the 2018 official release. So that's going to be. That's going to be super fun, I have to say. Oh, I can tell you that I didn't enjoy the 2019 and 2018 Lagavulin 12 that much. Oh wow, especially the 19 and the 20-year 12 is better, but not on par with the 17. Especially the 2015, which is his favorite. I was lucky to have the 15 and the 16. 17, I think even, yes. I haven't had one in a few years. I did not know that there was this big gap of, as far as like the later years not being on par. That's kind of disheartening, but, I can't say I'm completely surprised. I mean, Lagavulin is usually a little better with consistency. It's rare that you get an off bottle by them that I remember, as far as their 16 distillers edition, the core, like the 8. This 12 though is a little more batch sensitive, I think is the word for it. And I definitely agree with you there, Stephen, that I see the potential of a lot of iffy. 2019 was trash. Wow, for a Lagavulin 12, so disappointed. I'm glad I did not get that bottle, because I would have been disappointed. And I'm sure these are still running. I mean, this has been a few years, but I think 144 is typically the price of. Let's see what they're going for now, just for shits and giggles. Let's just see. The Lagavulin. Let me see. Lagavulin. We'll say 12. I just want. At first, I'm just going to look for anything that's a 12. Well, there's still a 2007 Lagavulin 12 out there for 130. That's surprising. It's in the UK though. That's probably some sort of misprint. That's an old bottle, 2007. Jeez, older, I should say, not old. 2020s. They're coming out for 150. Wow. So they have gone up already a little bit. $5, it seems like. I'm surprised. You don't want to see today's prices. Yeah, I can tell that they're already crazy. Speaking of crazy, let's get on Malt here. How's it going, man?
Oh, it's good, man. Happy Tasty Tuesday to you, brother, and to everybody in the show. Glad to have everyone here.
Yeah, you too.
We're talking about Lagavulin. I think I just caught it. Lagavulin 12s.
Yeah, I was just talking about how I think a lot of us take the Lagavulin 12 and your typical jams like Glendronach 12. Lagavulin 16. You take some of these, that you started your whiskey journey maybe halfway in, not the first sips, but once you got to Islay, the Lefroy 10, I think, is another one of those drams that's kind of taken for granted, where you enjoy it so much, you get excited, then you move on to the next bottle. And then rarely do we ever, invest $80-$90 in, something that we've had at least 2 or 3 bottles of already. It could be 4 or 5 years ago, but, a lot of these are still staple whiskeys.
For sure, man. And that's why I'm really excited, format wise, what Telex and I try to do, that, and I think we've talked about this with folks before, is the first hour we try to do kind of like a whiskey that we know everybody can get their hands on. Now we can't, we don't always get that every time, but for the most part, that's what we do. And that's what I'm really excited about tonight, because I haven't had a Lagavulin 16 in a couple of years, and particularly for the same reason that you're mentioning. I have been sipping on a distillery release and a Jazz Fest and a couple two different 12-year-olds for a little while now. And
what year were the 12-year-olds? If you do remember what
I have up here, it's the 2018 and the 2019, and it's interesting. They're very different. I enjoy them both. The 2019 I quite like. It's different in the sense it's really got this kind of elemental distillery aspect to it. That, I mean, I've not had older ones, so I can't do anything in the point of comparison. But I really enjoy it.
Let me ask you a question. Do you get these are notes that I'm remembering. I'm remembering, I guess. I'm memorizing. I'm reviewing that I got on the 12. I think this was a 2016 bottle. But I remember getting cotton candy was kind of one of those weird notes I got from it.
Oh, interesting.
Cotton candy, pomegranate, and some mint. bubble gum. I was getting some bubble gum even from it. Are those kind of the same similar notes that you get off this one?
So the two are much. I think the 2018 was better, but the 2019 I found to be really. It was a bit different, but I kind of liked it. In fact, I to be totally candid, the only reason I bought it was that I watched Ralphie's review of it, who was just gushing about it. So I was like, okay, I'll pick up another one. And I did, and I liked it, and not as much as he did. He was like all over that 2019. But I liked the 2018 better. It was a bit richer and kind of more characteristic of what I expected from a Lagavulin 12-year-old. But again, like I remember it being the 2019 in particular, I remember was like, and maybe we can pour a little bit later, but it was very much like you got a lot more of that distillate quality in it. It had a lot of this, like, again, the kind of like the barley notes shined through a bit more in it than I expected. And it had a different type of complexity than the 2018, whereas the 2018 was much richer, I found. But again, it's been a second. I don't remember exactly. I haven't compared. And the only other one I had was a 2017, which I thought was probably a little bit better than both, but that was just a sample. So, there's batch variation, and unfortunately, the prices went up, man. I mean, the prices still. Dude, the new one that I saw, the 2020 was like $159. I was like, yo, I can't do it, man.
That's crazy. Yeah, the last I looked was a few years ago, but I think the last time I bought it was around 144, somewhere around, 143 to 144. And now I'm seeing 150, and you're saying even 160 and up. So
it's getting too
sorry.
I mean, I remember being hesitant to buy it at 120 2 years ago because I didn't know. And then once I knew, I started buying it.
The cast strength makes a huge difference on price to those that don't know. Whenever you're importing whiskey, one of the things that's kind of a pain to deal with, because those of us that do love cast strength whiskey, is we do have to pay a lot more when it comes to that ABV being imported over to the United States. It's kind of strange how that works.
For real.
Tripper Henry's saying the 169, and that's insane. That's
Jesus. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. Like, unless it's one of the older bottlings, probably that you just take a flyer on. I don't know if I could go that way. Cohen just mentioned, dude. So the Lagavulin 9, bro. So it's so funny he mentions this. When I was out in LA like about 6 months ago, I went over to High Times Whiskey, and when I walked in, I was like there specifically to hunt for a couple things, and then I look over. And they had a whole display. You remember I sent you a picture of this, man.
I couldn't believe it. I thought there was someone lost their freaking mind.
9-year-old for $26. It was like, oh my God. I killed the whole bottle. I was
It's
there.
a good whiskey too, man.
Whiskey. It's probably the best of the Game of Thrones stuff, in my opinion.
Definitely by far. I mean, the Kleinleash is pretty solid, but other than the Kleinleash and maybe the Talisker, those are the only two that really are even close to the quality of that one. And that 9, I actually like the 9 better than the 11, to be honest with you.
I agree. I thought the 11 was, and especially now because the prices are so.
To me, it was good. It was just the Offerman edition 11 to me is good, but it's just so woody. It's awfully overly oaky to me. It's got a bit of a bite to it, which is not bad. It's just something you had to be in the mood for,
Dude, the other thing I'll mention really quick, there's a new Offerman edition coming out with like a different finish.
I did not know that.
Finish. They have a Guinness Stout finish coming out.
Whoa, I'm a huge Guinness fan, but I can't imagine that being finished.
I'm a little bit like, okay, where are we going with this, y'all?
They're getting awfully experimental.
Yeah.
That's Diageo for you.
Marketable with that Offerman stuff on it.
That's Diageo, man. They'll find a way to get Nick Offerman, we'll call him, to sell anything that they've got over at Diageo.
Right.
That guy could sell Ice Time Eskimo, I tell you.
Yeah, for sure.
He's the only one that can get away with sitting next to a fire for 45 minutes, not say a word, and just drink Lagavulin and get actually paid for it. I want that job,
man. Yeah. Totally, brother. Totally.
I can look kind of serious and give me a cigar and a little top hat. I could be serious for about a half hour.
For real, man. For real. Yeah, that's awesome, dude. So yeah, before we get into this, anything new on Telex's bar this week?
Oh man, I need to pick up that Highland Park Ice, and I need to get those 2 Amaret Atacama peated port cast bottles for us. So that's going to be this week. I got to pick those 3 up. Other than that, I have been kind of doing some recon on a Glen Elgin 18. I have my eyes on also a Glenelg 25, which would be solid. And an old Ball Blair 83 that's actually 34 years old, I believe, or 37. I can't remember. And I found it for 400. I'm thinking that's a steal for that.
Yeah.
So I might have to pick that one up on the side. But other than that, I've been trying to be a little more conservative, trying to figure out what's the next move. What about you?
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. Man, if you get your hands on that Ball Blair, that is going to be a serious treat. I haven't gotten anything extremely new. A couple things. I got recently, this is a Balvenie single barrel 21-year-old.
Oh, that's different. I haven't seen that drop before.
I hadn't either, and I still don't see it very many places. I jumped on it right away because the 12 is a really good Balvenie single barrel release, but the 25 is like crazy expensive. And then you have like the Sherried 15, which is around $140. This is all ex-bourbon. So I jumped on the opportunity to snag this. And as you know, I didn't get it myself, but it'll be showing up at your doorstep this week, is the Ardbeg.
Yes, that's going to be awesome, man.
So one of those is coming. I've also got, I've been buying a bunch of rum, so we won't get into those. But I also got this. This is the new Kilkerran heavily peated batch 3. I did not have batch 2, but you and I did the batch 1. I recall you weren't a huge fan, so this will be a fun one to share with you to kind of compare to that.
I've heard that these newer batches are getting better. I've heard that the second one was better, and I've heard this third one actually might even be better than the first 2. So that's kind of interesting how that goes.
And then last but not least, I finally did it, and I finally got it. Cavalan Vinho Barrique, my own.
Wow.
This is the cast strength Vinho Barrique, 57%.
Nice, man. That's a steal.
I'm very excited for that one, man.
Have you tasted that one before, though?
Oh yeah, many times. I've just never had my own bottle because it's really
same here. I've tasted it a few times. I never had my own bottle. I'll have to quell that error sometime.
Well, go ahead.
Is that Balvenie 21 that you got? Is that a 47.8%? Is that 47.8?
Yes.
Traditional oak. Okay. Yep. What does that one run, if you don't mind me asking?
Man, it's like the cheapest I ever saw. It was like $340, $330.
Okay. I'm not surprised with Balvenie because there's one of the best-selling malts. Even like whenever you ask, what's your best-selling malt? Usually, if it's not Macallan or Glenlivet or one of those guys, it's Balvenie is really in the top 3 from what I hear a lot of the time. So they could probably pick off 320 for a 21-year all day long. I'm sure at least it's not an 18. Hi.
Yeah, right. For real. Yeah, I think this is gonna be really special. I don't know the extent of the releases of this or where it's available or not. Oh wait, I did get something else.
Yes, that was Stephen was one of the ones I've had the Cavalan and had it at an expo a while back, but those aren't near as fun as having your own samples. But yeah, having our own bottle would be really nice too.
Yeah, I got 2 bourbons. Well, one's a Tennessee whiskey / bourbon. One is a bourbon. Jack Daniel's single barrel proof. So this one is supposedly just an absolute killer. This is actually a pick from a store just over the border in Delaware. So I got my hands on this, which I'm very excited about. And then I also got this is a bourbon from Washington called Woodinville. This is a store pick from a place in California called Blackwell's Wines and Spirits. So a couple
Blackwell's, yeah. I bought from them, I think, just on the side before, believe it or not.
Yeah, they're good. So yeah, a couple fun bourbons. Pretty stoked about those. And we'll see where it goes from there.
Uh-oh. You're moving to LA. I saw the man bun. It's final now.
Oh yeah. Sorry. It's getting a little out of control. I gotta get this shit out of my face. But yeah, I know. I'm having a crisis moment right now, man. It's like, I haven't cut my hair at all either since COVID, and it's like now I'm starting to get used to being long hair guy, but I'm like either I gotta chop this shit or I gotta go all the way for another year. So I don't know yet. We're gonna see what's up.
You could be like, if you had gray hair, you could definitely be the dude, man. You would be just like the dude. Get you one of those big ponchos and a
man. Beverage here, man.
Get you a white Russian in one hand and a freaking Lagavulin in the other.
Speaking of Lagavulin, I have poured out this Lagavulin 16 here, man, and I'll be ready to dive in when you are. Before
we start, and I do want to start now too, because I'm hella thirsty. I want you guys to think about something in the chat. One thing, like I was talking about, that we take these types of drams for granted. Now, I certainly wouldn't give Lagavulin 16 as like the first scotch to somebody, but it might be one of the first Islay scotches I give to somebody that's peated. What are some of your favorite pick three of your, once someone's already had like a Highland Park 12, they've had like a bit of peat, they understand what it's like, but you want to get them into like the Islay Islands type of area. Where would you shoot them first? Would you shoot them towards like a Lagavulin 16? How about a Talisker 10 or a Springbank 10? I mean, there's lots of options out there. Let me know what you guys think would be your first three intro to like medium peat levels before you would go for, like, if someone's like, I want to try Port Charlotte and I want to try Octomore, but I'm not ready yet. I've had some beginning peat, but I want to get to that next level. Those are the three that I want to hear from you guys, what you think. And he said first peat Octomore, man. That's going from like, you're like handing the keys to a 16-year-old and saying, okay, here's this Lamborghini Countach. Here's this Lamborghini Countach over here. And they put the pedal to the metal.
Hey, you trial by fire, man. Trial by fire.
I would say, man, this one is definitely in the top three. I have to put on the list, man. This is a beautiful dram. I'll never forget the first time I had it. If I always have a bottle, I would not be disappointed. I've never had a bad bottle of 16. I could go on and on. I'm not a huge like Lagavulin fanboy per se, but as far as their basic distillate and what they come up with on the 16 on a regular basis for the price, it's absolutely just insane.
Yeah. That's a good prompt. And I'm seeing a lot of folks in the chat sharing their stuff. And like, I agree with a lot. Top Chef Boston, Andrew Page, Top Chef Whiskey, which is Mike. I think if I was going to say like three island whiskeys, you're going to be surprised with my first one because it's one
could be Islay or Island, either way.
Yeah, it's one that I don't really like, which is the Talisker 10. But I do think like if you like Talisker 10, you're going to love it. I do recommend the Talisker 10 as kind of a good intro one. It's a modestly priced, and the others. I hate to say this because I just have little respect for their core range stuff. I would almost say a Bowmore 10.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, a Bowmore 12, because I think like it's a good intro that you'll never go back to. My third is it's a toss-up between Kalila 12 and Ardbeg 10.
Yeah, that's the tough thing, man. It's like
the Kalila's right there. Maybe I would. Okay, let me redo it. Even though the Bowmore is so much cheaper than the Kalila, like forget it. We'll put that aside. Kalila 12, Ardbeg 10, and Talisker 10.
Yeah, I think Lagavulin 16, Talisker 10, and man, I was kind of torn between. I think I saw a couple of really good ones. I love Silverlock's Kalila 12, Talisker 10, and the Lagavulin Distillers Edition. I love that sherry. That's solid. 10 to 12 year Kalila independent bottling. That could be that's an awesome option. There's someone else had another good one. Top Shelf had a good Holland Park 18, Talisker 10, and the Balvenie Peat Week. I think that's an interesting spread because you're giving them peat from islands. Well, two different from islands, and you're giving them from another outside of Isla Islands area in Balvenie. So that's a pretty good spread too. There's not any right or wrong answers, of course. I was just kind of curious of what people thought. And oh no, with the Bowmore. Yeah, it's one of those tough. I mean, if the person is already a big fan of like Glengoyne, then I would say Bowmore's a good catch because it's got like a not so oily.
Yeah.
It's not an oily mouthfeel. Like if you are the type of guy that doesn't like a Kleinleich mouthfeel and you like the more thinner Glengoyne, then when you go to the Bowmore as your Isla, then you might actually fall in love with it faster than you would something else. So I could see pros and cons to the Bowmore, intro, but they're I don't want Bowmore's peat profile being associated with peat for a newbie. Yeah, that's
good point.
That's kind of.
It was a knee-jerk reaction. I removed it. I think Kalila 12. It gives you the nice kind of citric freshness. I think you go Ardbeg or the Ardbeg, you get a little bit more of the depth and complexity, and then Talisker, you just get that peppery saltness. Now, none of those are really sherried, which is, I do sort of feel something's got to have a little sherry in it. You know what I mean? Because the marriage of sherry and peat is honestly what got me into Isla. So when I think somebody mentioned Lagavulin Distillers Edition, which I'm tempted to replace maybe the Ardbeg 10 with that.
Here's another one. Ugadal is a great option for. It's on the high side for peat, though. I mean, this is where it gets kind of tough because you can't give them like Port Charlotte or Quarry of Wrecking because it would blow their mind. But they've already had some of the they've already had some of the basics like Holland Park 12, maybe an 18, maybe they've had like a Balvenie that's peated or Ben Riot Curiosita, something like that, where they've already had a taste of peat. But you want to get to them in that middle row. But I love all the options. I agree with the Kalila. I think it's an option that if you want to give them kind of a vegetal feel. The Talisker, of course, is great for that spicy kick that you can get. And they could graduate from a Talisker 10 to a Quarry of Wrecking if they like that one kind of thing. There's and the Lefroy 10 is great, but if you don't like hospitals like I do, you do not want to start with that one.
I didn't know you were a big hospital fan, man. I learned something.
I'm a huge TCP Iodine should be my middle name.
Every time you want to meet up to do a sample swap, you're like, dude, meet me at this new hospital, man. I want to scope it out. I'm like, really?
If they have Lefroy, dude, give me an IV.
Meet you in the ER, in the triage center. We need to triage with some good whiskey.
I'd have a big tube of Lefroy, I'd have a big tube of Lagavulin, and a big tube of Ardbeg. I'd be in heaven.
Yeah.
All triple feeded to 3 ways to my mouth. That'd be crazy. Anyway, we better get into this story before I lose.
All right, let's do it. What's the tail of the tape here on the topic? The one and only, the famous. I don't know what other accolades we need to give this. The Lagavulin, 16 years old.
You guys have heard us talk about Diageo ad nauseum. And Diageo is a huge conglomerate that owns many, many Scotch brands. The Lagavulin's been around for many, many, many years. They were like doing some underground moonshine stuff in the 1700s. They became a legal official distillery in 1812. John Johnston, which, hey, could be a distant relative.
What?
John Johnston was the first one to make it legal. I was doing my little homework today, a little history lesson. So
Ancestry.com, that bro.
There is a John Johnston, I swear to God, that came over. He was born already in Bath, Virginia in 1804, so it can't be the same guy. But there was a John Johnston in the family that goes back that far. I swear I'm going to find it.
No kidding, man. That's so funny. Not to digress, I just started reading Edward Snowden's memoirs, and he traced his name back to like the first Europeans that came over on the Mayflower. So it may be true. You may have a connection to Lagavulin that you don't even know about yet. You got to just do your research.
we're still in the 1800s in the United States at that point. So
Yeah.
maybe they got on a boat from, I think they went from Scotland to Ireland first before coming over here, but I got to do some more research. So anyway, but yeah, this is a 43%. It's a solid, good, it's not 40, thank God. That would depress me, but 43 is a good, solid intro. I wish it was 46. I will say 48 would be even better, but 43 is tolerable. It's, they don't really talk a lot about, as far as from Giaggio, as far as chill filtering and coloring, but I do suspect that they have some sort of coloring in this and chill filtering. Has anyone heard anything opposite of that for Lagavulin 16?
I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell, but I wouldn't be surprised.
They're known for. I mean, the chill filtering is not near as bad as the coloring, but typically coloring is something they've been doing for a long time with lots of their different malts. If anyone has any information as far as specifics on the coloring or the no, it's not. It doesn't look fakey to me, but I think they might just do it for consistency's sake.
That's always.
But that looks legit. I mean, for 16 years, and I would not be if it was natural color, it wouldn't surprise me because it doesn't seem like it's overly dark or anything for 16 years in the cask. And these are all oak barrels. Period. They don't do any special cast types other than just straightforward oak barrels that I could find. Right. They're right next to Port Ellen, so if you're a Port Ellen fan, that's probably why their barley freaking tastes so fantastic. I mentioned always pretty consistent on this. I don't get a lot of batch variations on these 16s. Is anyone else detected that?
I mean, I will say color-wise, it's tough to say. It's once these get older and you have so much more barrel influence, it's tough to say. I would guess maybe, but it's hard to tell. I mean, look, the bottom line is if they don't say that it's not, then it is, and we'll just say that it is.
The regular 16, Dustin, is not sherry and bourbon. I believe this is straightforward.
Sherry.
In the basic 16, or are you talking about the distiller's edition? The distiller's edition is the one that has sherry in it.
Yes, I thought maybe the regular one did too, but no, you're right. It's all up bourbon.
I have not seen any information that goes outside of straightforward oak barrels, and even on the bottle itself, there's nothing. Let's see. Let's make sure. Double quick sure, just in case I'm missing something here. I usually don't go by everything on the bottle, but no, they don't really talk about. And that's one thing that's tough about Diageo is that they're pretty close knit when it comes to like so-called recipes and the way they do their process and whatnot. Unless they do give you like a cast type, or if they have sherry in it, but. I'm not detecting anything as far as anything that I can find. The basic 16 uses sherry, or I don't know whiskey tastes at all. Well, okay. Well, if you find any information that backs that up, I would definitely accept it. But I have not. I've looked and looked, and I've not seen anything outside of the distiller's edition, and the 9-year does have sherry. Let me make sure.
I'm not either. I honestly didn't look, but I do remember drinking a whiskey, which was supposedly all ex-bourbon, that I swore to God drinking had sherry in it, and that was the Glen Scotia 15. So
yeah, exactly.
A similar experience. I'm not sure. It has been a couple years since I've had this, but I think since this was your pour or your sample, I'll dive in when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm that's what makes it tough sometimes is usually they would tell you if there's some sort of, and it does taste like, I'm not going to jump the gun, but we'll get into the notes, but there might be some sherry-esque type of notes that come in there, but just like that Glen Scotia 15, if I didn't know that it did not have sherry in it, I would have sworn my life that there was sherry in that dram. That's how much it tasted like it. So I don't think you can always go by that, but Steven's saying this ex-bourbon is sherry. if is that and that's all the Lagavulin 16. Is that where are you getting this from? I need to see the actual information on a site or somewhere to see it, because I just don't believe everything that I hear on that one. But we'll get to that later. Go ahead and do your deal, man.
Okay. Well, I'll get into the nose here. The first thing, smoke.
Oh yeah,
a fuck ton of it. This is a smoky whiskey, and like this is something that kind of, you learn over time the difference between peat and smoke. I mean, usually they're together, and yes, this is heavily peated, but my God, this is incredibly smoky whiskey. It is a bonfire on the ocean type thing. So behind that, though, very sweet. I'm getting kind of toffee brown, like light brown sugar. There is some red juicy fruit, maybe not juicy, maybe kind of mid-level. It's not like a dried red fruit. It's not juicy. It's kind of just right in the middle. There's a nice, what is that? Again, this maritime kind of swampy seaweed quality. Like dried seaweed, dried kelp.
Oh yeah, it's
marine notes, whatever you want to call it. Not chlorine, but marine.
It's got a lot of briny characteristics.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
I love the maritime seashells you can get off of it.
Yeah, vanilla. I mean, I get a lot of rich vanilla, brown sugar. Again, tons of smoke, very smoky. And again, this kind of marine quality, which is got a lot of complexities to it. I mean, I can't parse it all, but quite.
I can even get some citrus fruit, a little orange and lemon in there too.
Orange, you're right on that for sure.
A little bit of
honey too,
like a tea bag, yeah.
Yeah, like a green tea, that kind of just like earthy. I don't know what you would call it. It's not herbal, but it's that kind of mealy, kind of earthy roundedness.
Like a lapsang souchong kind of.
Lapsang, yes. Very nice on the nose. I mean, it's simultaneously assertive and relaxed, which is what I think is so kind of unique about this.
I hear you there, Cohen. I try not to as well, but this is one of those drams that's kind of the jewel of their big crown that they've got.
There's like a nice like sweet berries too. I mean, more like strawberries, kind of like creamy strawberry thing going on. I'm detecting a lot of that. It's got quite a range of notes. But vanilla, I mean, if this is all ex-bourbon, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, the vanilla is just very strong on this.
In their defense, there are quality, like the fruit qualities I get from it. It does have like a dryness. Like if there is any sherry in here, I would definitely suspect it would be Oloroso sherry, but it's so minimal that that's where I'm kind of surprised they would even bother, because I don't think it gets a lot. I get tons of bourbon cast notes with this, with the peat, but I don't get a ton of, they might just do like a 4%, 2% type of thing. Recently I was reading a bottle that came out in it might have been that Kilkerran 16, where it was 96% bourbon and like 4% Madeira casks or something. Which bottle was that?
Yeah, Kilkerran 16.
Was that the one? Yeah, that's the one I was kind of like. And the weird thing is, I saw some people label it as Madeira and some people label it as Marsala, and I saw more Madeiras than I did Marsalas.
Yeah,
so
there was some about it.
So
yeah, I saw that it was kind of posted in two ways. It was posted in like two different ways what I saw online, but I think the consensus now is it's Marsala, but I'm not sure. You can quote me on it.
Yeah,
anyways,
I saw
this
and Distiller even had it wrong. They had both on their site too, where I saw Madeira and Marsala in the same description. I thought that was kind of strange.
I do also want to mention there's a nice kind of like seashore dampness to this, like damp wood. It's just, yeah, it's great. It's a great nose. I'm going to go in for a taste. Cilantro.
Steven says it was probably finished in Oloroso, so yeah, I could see that being I detect it. I'm just surprised that they're that hung up on not even letting us know specifically officially if it's got like that sherry touch in it. But yeah, Klein Leash I think is just as much. It's a better whiskey as far as like a base and a foundation to me. But
man, I
Lagavulin is definitely their more well known out of all of them. I'd say probably best selling.
Man, I forgot how delicious this whiskey was. Really rich on the arrival. It's earthy, sweet, and a bit of sour. It's almost like there's a fermented note to this in the background.
Like a pickling, yeah.
Yeah, like from I don't know what. Umami savory notes. Big time. That maritime kind of just like almost like, what do you want to call it? Just, when you have in your fridge like a bag of spinach or a bag of something and it's fermenting, like it's past its due date. It's got kind of a very like overripe funk to it.
Yeah.
That going on in here. Again, there is some nice fruit. It's apricot and orange. It goes into a medium finish, malted milk ball. The smoke is just huge. It's like charcoal. There's bonfire. Wow, I forgot how good this was. It's been a while. I'm quite enjoying it. It drinks higher than a 43%. I'll tell you that.
It does, and for me, it's a magical dram. Even though it's not the most expensive, it's not the most well regarded as far as being the highest on the craft level. As a solid bottle that you can easily pair with food. It's insane how good this is. I mean, I remember going down in Columbia Heights in DC and eating in that Cambodian restaurant at that Tipcow and having this bottle, man. Oh, it was heaven. I'll never forget that meal as long as I live. It was that good.
Man, this would go really good as a back on some oysters. Boy.
I had mango and catfish that night.
I'm surprised at how assertive that orange it's not tropical per se, but I don't get as much citrus as I do just like deep kind of like blood orange, mandarin orange.
Well, get that on the palate, on the nose. I was getting citrus on the nose, but on the palate, I agree with you. It goes in more of like a darker, thicker fruit, almost like a stewed fruit.
Wow, boy, man, that finish again. I get like a creamy kind of vanilla. There's a bit of like almost like a root beer float kind of thing where it's like a little bit of that effervescence from the peat mixing with the vanilla. You kind of get like that classic root beer float note and just a ton of like ashtray, just like wet ashtray, smoldering, campfire in the rain type thing. Wow.
For me, this finish is really long. For me, it's always consistently long. For some reason, I'm not sure. It must be the oils that they got going on in this. But luckily, I could even like 15 minutes. I could still, if I don't, have water or something to eat, I can still taste it. It's crazy.
This is gonna leave a mark. Let's put it that way. This is gonna leave a mark. There's even like a wet. Kind of like wet concrete, like this, like it tastes like the smell of when you go outside in the spring and there's been the first rain in the spring and your driveway and the sidewalk has just been like coated with rain and you kind of get some of that minerality clay note. Like it's just,
I get like a creosote note. It's a tar creosote kind of combination. It's not like heavy, but it's just enough. It's almost perfect. I hate to say it, but to me, this is one of those drams that even for its low ABV and its lack of maybe crystal craftsmanship, it's still so well done that the taste from nose to finish to palate, nose to palate to finish is is just rock solid.
Yeah, I just put a little bit of water on it. Man, it is what a smoky whiskey.
Hopefully, it can handle the drop of water. Did it take a lot of the?
I put like 2 drops on it.
Did it kill the nose for you, or is it still got what kind of properties?
Again, it's much more. It's less complex on the nose now with water. It's much more just straight up bourbon.
Yeah, Welsh Taro was saying that he thought it was a well-known sherried whiskey. So I stand corrected if it's that well-known that it's definitely got it. But at the same time, I'd love to see it like actually, labeled somewhere that it's in writing at some point. I know Diageo's tough about that. Sometimes you got to get the information straight from the distillery if you're lucky, and sometimes they don't tell you everything for real either. I've noticed, even if you get your hands on the ambassador or at the distillery, you talk to some of these guys, it's like pulling teeth.
Yeah. Have you ever been fishing before, Telex?
Yeah.
You know what the smell of like a live well is? When you open it up, it's got a little bit of that kind of like fishy, like
it's got a funk, yeah,
lake water note, but then there's like a kind of a weird sweetness to it. Man, I'm getting a ton of that on here. Again, the maritime marine notes, less maritime, more marine. It's less like salty, sweet, fresh ocean air and more just like deep kind of seaweed vegetal. It's just huge on this.
Yeah, the funny thing about Lagavulin is, like, to me, like, Caol Ila is a little more vegetal than the Lagavulin, but Lagavulin definitely does have some vegetal notes to the whiskey that
darker, darker, kind of just like almost wilting greens.
Almost like a zucchini type of deal going on.
There's like a nice almond, almost like manzanilla quality to it, where there's like a kind of a rounded, sweet almond note, kind of like those hot almonds you can get at like a fair or festival. Wow. I'm going to go back in.
Oh, man. Toasted, yeah. You're right. It really brought out the bourbon, like sugar toffee, like the treacle, that kind of coffee, made it a little drier though too. That's strange, huh?
Yeah. So with water, very similar to folks who were on my happy hour when I was drinking the Ben Riach Septon Decim 17. The water has just exploded the bourbon notes on this. Dark chocolate, baking, like slight baking spice, but more just like heavy dark chocolate. Cocoa is just dominating the palate on this. It's not even that drying though. Like
I'm getting a lot of cocoa all of a sudden. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, long, like medium to medium long finish. I mean, I'm more on the longer side of it now. Like
cocoa nibs, definitely.
It did take away. I think I like this more without water. I do think that it had a little bit more complexity. So like that root beer note, which I really enjoyed, that root beer or root beer float note, the vanilla ice cream mixed with kind of the effervescent root beer is much more tamed down on the finish here. Again, it's ashtray. Like
I do like the sweetness though.
If you've never been a cigarette smoker, you may not know this, but if you've been a cigarette smoker, you'll know. If you breathe out after sipping this, it tastes like you have just smoked 5 Marlboros.
Yeah.
And I, as an ex-cigarette smoker and current, unfortunately, vape smoker, I love it.
Yeah, it's funny when I quit smoking in 2012, and I used to smoke Marlboro Reds, Camel Whites, the whole shebang. And when I went to Scotch afterward, I felt like it was kind of great because I got to have that cigar and that cigarette without even having it anymore out of these smoky whiskeys. And I think that's why I gravitated towards the peat right off the bat, because I missed a lot of that type of deal.
Yeah,
I love the sweetness and the sweetness after the water with this. Huh?
There's a nice savory note too.
Yeah.
Almost like again, it's not like like meaty. It's more like a grilled fish. Like a nice like meat, like smoked salmon. I don't know. Sam.
Yeah, I had a feeling that this was definitely got some coloring in it. Thanks for looking that up,
Oh
Dustin. I
yeah,
appreciate it.
Dustin. That's good to know. Yeah, boy,
This,
if they wouldn't chill filter this though, this would go from good to awesome without chill filtration. This is one of those whiskeys I think like would be magical without chill filtration, because those peppers would be much heavier and in place on this. And I think that they carry, that's the acid and the alcohol notes that form the esters would really extend the flavor of this. I think it's almost criminal that they chill filter this.
I agree. I do love the water with this.
Man, it would be exponentially better without chill filtration.
Yeah, I agree. I do like this with water. I think it makes it actually more complex in the long run because you get to enjoy it with and without. But it's not necessary to do it either way. I do enjoy it, like you said, neat, probably a little more with the nose and the first part of the palate. But man, after the water, the sweet, I love the sweetness of what you get out of that butterscotch and toffee and caramel. And
yeah,
I mean, all these flavors come from like you said, I think the bourbon side of the cask. But
do you get anything like kind of bordering on like a leather shoe polish type thing?
It does have like you're talking about on the nose of the palate, or
on the palate.
Not that I go and taste polish. If what I can,
well, you know what I mean, like the
Bondo putty kind of the thing
is so close together. Yeah, like the way that you would imagine, like the way it smells, like when you drink it, it goes through your nose and you can kind of like smell the taste of it.
Yeah, I get a Bondo putty kind of thing.
It's like a leather, like leathery kind of fresh leather. I don't know what the hell fresh leather is. I'm just talking.
No. Like a leather couch that just came off the furniture. Like a leather couch that just came off the furniture line.
Yeah, like you walked into some cowboy shoe store in Nashville and you were like, it just reeks like dank leather. Like that's.
I like it though. It smells good to me.
Yeah, no, I'm into it.
It does have a lot going on. That's one thing that's strange to me is I'm not surprised because it is a 16-year, which is pretty long. It's pretty good age. I'm just surprised at how well priced this still is for the basic bottle. Do they still sell this for like $80 to $90 pretty much?
I remember when 2 years ago it was 67 to 70. Now it's like 90 to 100.
Oh, okay. Because I remember like 80 to 90 was like the usual run for this one, and I thought that was pretty much a perfect price. Once it gets above 100, that's when I'm kind of like, I don't know, man. It is 16 years, but it's just so readily available. That's what I think makes it so tough to spend that kind of money on it.
Yeah,
it's a damn quality dram, though.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to give you a score on this one.
All right, you go ahead and go through the motions. I'm just so surprised that the price is so good.
Yeah, they call this the Prince of Islay. Well, they call themselves the King of Islay, but the King of Islay is Ardbeg. They used to say they were the Prince of Islay. Do you know when this was bottled?
I could tell you in 1 second.
Yeah,
I can tell you in one. And if you guys don't know, as a whiskey, even if you're not as serious as we are, even if you just are curious about a bottle, you should definitely have a flashlight and a magnifying glass. Huh?
I said, or more serious than we are.
Yes. You should definitely get a magnifying glass and a flashlight, at least a flashlight. The reason being because these are etched in the sides of these bottles where they have these codes that you can see.
Some of them. Not every distillery does it, unfortunately.
True. Unfortunately, you don't have ways to find out. But this one's a L004-2CM01. Is it a 9 or a 0?
I don't know what it means. I guess it doesn't matter.
What you do is you take the code, you put it on Whiskey Base, is a good website to do these tracks, and they'll actually spit out the information about the bottle for you just based off the code. Typically,
yeah. I mean, here's where I'm going to fall on it.
My light died.
That variation is obviously always a thing, and I've heard that it's significant times with Lagavulin. I don't know. This is damn good. I haven't had this in probably upwards of 3 years. And if you would have poured this blind for me, and I would probably score it higher than I'm going to, which is a testament to the quality. The price, however, these days, when you are looking at so many peated whiskeys on the market vying for your dollar, that the fact this is around $100 is, it gets to me a little bit. But I'll say, man, there is a classical Islay element to this. There's a good amount of complexity. The finish is long. It is not. I would love to see this non-chill filtered, but it's not stripped of any of its qualities, even at 40%. This is a great pour, man. Like I really, after having a couple peated whiskeys tonight of the 17-year-old Ben Riach, this is just, it's so singular in its profile. The maritime notes, the sweet notes, the long finish. Even in the $90 price range, man, it's hard pressed not to get this at least once in your life, if not more. I'm bullish on this, and I'm gonna give this a 3.75 out of 5, which is on my scale, which is I definitely recommend you try it or just straight up buy this if you find it. If you find this less than $90, buy it. If it's over 90 to 100, make the decision that you need to. This is a damn good whiskey. And it's a testament to just the classic nature of Lagavulin. Whatever batch this is, doesn't seem to be any slouch. I can't compare it to something from 1994, but this is punching all the right buttons. Yeah, 3.75 out of 5 for me.
Sounds good to me. I was looking up, trying to find based off the code, if I can get more information, but I don't. It's weird. The way they have their codes in here, it doesn't have the same type of barcode on this.
I don't know how much batch variation there is. I mean, you may not. I mean, it strikes me that they're going to try to be as consistent as possible with this one.
On this one,
there's batch variation between this and the one that came out 10 years ago. But compared to 2 years ago, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I have a feeling since I did. This is probably my third or fourth bottle of this one. This one I got fairly recently. I went through it fairly quick, just because it is one of those that if I'm in the mood for a peated whiskey, and I don't want to hit the Ardbeg 19 or the Lagavulin 18, I just want something that's not going to cost an arm and a leg either. This is definitely the go-to. It is consistently good. This one I think is from 2019 at the latest, probably 2020. I did not get it this year, but I think this is definitely a killer, and definitely I'd say a 2019 to 2020-ish bottle. Going by memory, it tastes the same as it did when I first had it, and probably I think it was 2015, somewhere around there. Not any difference as far as if you give me a 20, the 12-year-old, then I would be like, oh yeah, huge difference from year to year. On this one, I don't get that. But with that said, to me, this is I'm right along with Malt on a lot of what he said. The only difference is I probably will boost the score just a little smidgen, because I do think this is just as good as some of my favorite other types of non-peat, like Glendronach 12 is one that I would comparatively
Glendronach.
The quality, the goodness of them. I think it's as good as if I had a guy that was a sherry fan, I would definitely go for the Glendronach 12. If I had a guy that was a peat fan, this is definitely one of the first bottles I give them. And solid nose, palate finish before and after water. I do love what water does to it afterward, even though it gets a little drying. It just makes it more complex. I'm thinking I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. It's so damn good. I like it a lot better than the 8. It's a lot better than the 8. It's a hell of a lot better than the 10. It's better than the 11. It's better than the 9. The only one that I like a little bit better than this one is the 18 we'll get to in a little bit. The 12 and the Distiller's Edition, I think, are the ones that I do like a little bit better.
Yeah, and this is a good conversation. After we do the 18, I'd love to come back. Let's put a pin in that. I'd love to come back to the conversation about the 16 versus the 16 Distiller's Edition. But I'm totally with you, man. I could easily give this a 4. Even with the value consideration that I'm putting on it, but man, dude, I honestly expected less. After a couple of years, I've just not had it. And wow, this was nice to come back to you. Thank you for this sample. I'm just reminded how much the Lagavulin 16 is just a freaking standard bearer that just will not do you wrong, man. It just won't. It's got everything going for it. The age, the complexity that comes with the age, the heavy smoke. It is just.
And
I hope they don't mess this up, man. That's all I'm.
And as much as I cringe when Diageo does certain things, they do really have a great whiskey here. They do have other ones like Clynelish we talked about, Talisker, but this one is, I think, their best malt that they own. Does anyone have a more favorite all-around malt that Diageo deals with outside of Lagavulin? I mean, I do love Talisker. I like Clynelish a lot, Dalwhinnie and stuff, but this is kind of like their crown jewel, I think.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, I have to run and get a little water refill, but I'll be right back. And then we're about to head into hour number 2 here, so we are going to be doing a real special Lagavulin. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, he's already excited because he loves that first one. That's awesome, man. Let me catch up with some comments on the side here. What did you guys think on? It was a while back. I know we talked a few about what people's first entries were. I'm just kind of seeing if I missed any. Nothing that far back, it looks like. Oh, well. Let me get closer here. Yeah, they want to be able to mess with the recipe and not tell people. That is understandable, but I just wish that they were a little bit more, at least up front with the basics. They don't have to tell me what percent per se. But if it does have some Oloroso sherry in there, what's the, why does it hurt for me to know that for sure? That's all I'm saying is I'd like to get more of that. What's Jason got? Let's see here. Oh, the Paul John, yeah, SMWS Liquid. That sounds good. We're going to be doing a Liquid show not too long from here. It'll be fun to take a look at a couple. We got the tobacco leaf notes. Got some more of those bottles in the other whiskey. Yeah, it's solid. And it's easy to find. Costco does have the best prices if you are looking for a Lagavulin 16, and you do live where Costco can sell alcohol. That is the best place to get it for the cheapest. And I have seen them as low as $50 to $60 there, believe it or not, which is awesome. I've seen it, but clearly it's not my jam usually. Okay. Yeah, that's the thing there. Let me bring that malt back in here. Yeah, just going through some of the older comments to see some of the chat in the side here. So funny that I have had the 16 twice and didn't love it either time. Haven't had it in 3 to 4 years. Yeah. And some of the times that I think it's just the make. Some people fall in love, I think, with the, Port Ellen. I think people fall in love with a specific kind of a distillate. And Lagavulin is one of those that I just fell in love with, I think, from the very beginning. And even like Eric just said, now if I have it, I'll love it just as much as I did 3 or 4 years ago when I first had it. It's crazy. I hope I found myself. I've never found myself without a Clynelish 14. That's for sure. That is one of the best whiskeys, I swear. The only Diageo bottle I ever buy post tariff is Clynelish 14. Wow. Yeah, some people do hate, but that Lagavulin 16 edition is really nice. I hate to ask, but isn't Brora Clynelish? Well, Brora, the old Brora became. How would you explain that to somebody? It's almost like the orange is the new black, I guess. I don't know. It's like Brora, yes, used to be Clynelish, but there's been multiple versions of Brora, just like there's been multiple versions of Port Ellen and multiple versions of other distilleries that we've seen come and go over the years. Oh wow, 115. Yeah, I'd have to. I think. Where would you draw the line, Eric, on the price of the Lagavulin 16, where you'd be like, I just don't think it's worth that at that price? What's your line?
That's a good question, man. Again, like that $90 is like, here's the. It's such a question, man, because like
sorry.
No, it's good. This is right, because like on the one hand, nowadays to get something with an age statement of 16 years old, like you're hard pressed to find anything under $100. But for some reason, I keep thinking of Lagavulin as different because I'm basing it on the fact that fucking year and a half ago I could get that for 68 to 70. I feel like 90 is fair. I don't know if it's $100 whiskey. It's close.
That's where I draw it. I think 90 is right at the money.
I just missed the fact that it was cheaper. Like, I still think if you've never had it, spending up close to 90 with tax is still fair because of the quality and just uniqueness and just classicness of this dram. I just wouldn't go further because at this point, you're like getting like, you can potentially find other things in the price range. It's just so contingent on that,
Just go to Costco. Like I said, if you could get a Costco that sells alcohol, you can get Lagavulin all day for like $60 there. So that's the best way to go. I know Dustin was saying that his line is that, but yeah, I mean, if you're just judging by ABV, then I could see where you would get that, but it's definitely tastes a lot better than a $65 whiskey. At lots of different ABVs that I've had, but that's a whole nother discussion, really. The Lang is a great bottler. The Kill Devil Rum is fantastic. Joshua's a corner cutting bunch of weasels. Wow. Yeah, it's gonna get some Clynelish after this Kilhoman. Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll have to get our palates ready for the next run here.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm getting a little side chip. 1 second.
Forgive me.
Sorry.
I have to book a flight, so I'm just doing.
Uh-oh. Where are you going now? Jeez, you just got
Los
back.
Angeles. Yeah, Los Angeles.
Oh, no, he's going back to L.A. I'm going back to Cali. Cali.
That was the whitest BIG thing you'll ever see, but
I'm
deal
going
with it.
back to Cali. That's LL Cool J, man. I don't think so.
Yeah. My generation, bro. You're aging yourself, man. That's BIG.
Mouth feels better
No,
than taste. Yeah. I hear you there, Dustin. It's definitely. I mean, it's an oily dram, though. I mean, I wouldn't say it's no Clynelish, but it's not a Glengoyne either. It's kind of middle. I mean, even for the low ABV, don't you think that the Lagavulin 16 for mouthfeel has kind of like a nice willingness to it, even without it being like a higher ABV? But I'll agree. If I could get it at 46 or 48%, that would be awesome. Looks like Alberta Costco sells alcohol, but not Lagavulin. That is sad, man. I'm surprised, actually. And Alberta sells everything else but Lagavulin, from what I hear. I think, unless is that right?
Justin just said, want to do a whiter dude on a horse in Connecticut. This cat. I like it.
What? Wow, man.
I'm gonna get. Yeah, I'm gonna Don't give props on that. That's good.
All right, let's go get another one poured here. Did you got your thing
Yeah,
poured yet?
here, man. What is the tail of the tape on this bad boy?
This one is a bit different. This one we can actually get some more information of. This definitely has a marriage of refill and rejuvenated American oak hogshead and ex bodega European oak butts, all aged in a minimum of 18 years, 6,000 bottles on this yielded this one. This was the 2018 Feis Ile. Had a funky little bag that they put along. I would much rather have a canister or a box or something than a bag, but
they do that. I'm not sure. I'd be wrong.
Lagavulin does this on their jazz releases too, like the jazz and the Feis Ile releases. They all do the bag thing, but at least I guess I'll give them props for doing something different. At least it's just not very protective of the whiskey. But with that said, this was a happy find. This is bottle number 2073. This is at 53.9% ABV.
Ooh.
It is cask strength, and like I said, 18 years. This one, unfortunately, it's kind of like your typical Lagavulin / Diageo bottles where they don't tell you about the coloring, chill filtering. This one, I would be surprised to bother chill filtering such a specialized bottle, but since it's not labeled, we have to do the guessing game. Color is actually, I would say this is probably natural because this looks a lot lighter than that 16. I don't know if you have any to compare.
Yeah, it looks a lot lighter.
This one, they don't say anything about sherry. Now, is there sherry in this one? I do not know for certain. We can talk about whether or not either one of us gets any notes from it in there, but they are specific about the refill and rejuvenated American oak hogsheads and the ex-European oak butts. So at least that is more in your face as far as the make and craft of it. But I was really, really happy to score. This is one of those bottles that I actually spent a little bit more money than I typically would on a bottle to get my hands on it.
I can imagine. I mean, I
had to get it overseas, so because I did not go to Feis Ile in 2018, unfortunately. I've never been. I'd love to go though. Have you ever been to one of those?
No, I have not. But you and me both, man. I would love to. Have the opportunity. That's for sure.
I've been to Ireland and Northern Ireland, but I've never been to Scotland. Isn't that sad that we've both been to Ireland? We've never been to Scotland. Isn't that crazy?
Dude, I've been to the UK. I mean, God, how many times? But yeah, not unfortunately to Scotland yet.
Isn't that sad? Of all places, that's the place we want to go the most.
Yes.
I honestly don't know if I would ever come back if I ever went over there. That's why I'm kind of scared to go.
Well, it would be the best reason to go.
I think if I ever went over there, man, I'd be like, I'm gonna hide in like the bothy somewhere. I'll be in Ralphie's bothy, hiding in the corner. I'll work for Scotch.
Hey man,
so sad.
We could start our own distillery. We'll grab Richie. We'll grab Top Shelf Dustin, Stephen Connor, Paige, Daniel.
That'd be something.
Yeah, so let's just go ahead over there, man. With our combined knowledge, we'll be able to make some stuff.
With that said, though, you go ahead and take a little round and go through the motions and tell me what you think on this one. And I'm really eager to see if you detect much of a difference from the 16, and then B, is it a big jump? Is it a small jump? Can you detect the ABV difference? That type of stuff. It'll be really fun.
Well, off the nose. Again, it is a very smoky whiskey. I get more rich, heavy vanilla notes on the nose of this. I mean, it smells. Yeah, it's very similar to the 16, but I feel like there's a little bit more depth to it. It's hard to tell. I get some sandalwood and a little bit of kind of like cayenne pepper and nutmeg spice to it, which is a little bit different than what I was picking up on the other ones.
Yeah, you definitely nailed it with the vanilla and the spicy notes being more in your face on this one. Oh wow, yeah, cedar. I'm getting like some cedar,
Yeah,
like sandalwood, definitely. Huh. I'm surprised that I get the notes, but even though this is a higher ABV, I don't get it's not as much in my face as I expected it to be.
yeah, I'm with you on that. It's very well rounded. It's very almost creamy.
Yeah, there's like you get a lot of sweetness and spice off the nose.
Some barbecue, like a faint barbecue note, like somebody's grilling, something off in the distance.
It kind of reminds me of like a weaker version of like the grooves, like charring. It's got like that beach campfire thing going on, but not as much in your face. This is more refined. It's got like
it's like smoked paprika. You know what that is? It's like it kind of gives you the ham notes without ham. Basically, it's like the combination of the sweet and the savory, like kind of like clove.
Yeah, and you can actually. I am getting a bit of a meaty.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe like a little bit of ham with pineapple.
Smells delicious.
And it's funny. It's got some saline. It's got some brininess, but it's definitely not as briny, maritime smelling as the 16. This one's got more of a. You can smell the age, I think, in this one more. It definitely seems like you said, more well-rounded, refined,
more funky. Like there's a little bit of that kind of like mustiness to it, like an old warehouse,
like an antique store kind of thing.
Yeah, antique store. That's even better. Yeah,
that's what I love. I love getting whiskeys that have that age to the point, and you usually have to go beyond a 15 to get like a really nice attic kind of. It's like a warehouse, but without getting to the dunnage Springbank kind of factor. It's not as funky, but it's got a little bit of funk, just a touch.
Yeah, just a touch is right. I also am getting a lot of like, allspice. You know what? Allspice is really huge on this. I'm getting a ton of that.
I think to get some, like a slight bit of florals on the side. That's wild.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I mean, yeah, your nose is really good on the florals, and I totally am picking it up once you said it. I was like, that's what that is. It's almost like a slight lavender. It's rapid.
There's even some honeysuckle in there. Oh man. It definitely has a more of like a farm feel, like an organic, not like organic barley. That like if there was I guess maybe the 16-year-old local barley kind of has a similar.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's as good as that, but it reminds me a little bit of that. It kind of danky wet rope kind of thing going on. Oh, it's so good. It's all over the place in a good way.
Yeah, this is quite enjoyable. I mean, it's definitely a little bit more mellow and subtle. It zags when the other one zigs. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. All right, let's have a taste and then go back to the nose and see if we get anything different. What do you think about that?
Let's do it. Let's launch it.
Let's launch it, man. Be ready for a blast. Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my. Now that's good. Oh wow.
Yeah. Forgive Telex and I while we just freak out for a second.
Man, it's like that bit of honey came back.
Man, that you are so right on with the bit of honey. That is you are nailing that note.
It's a wave.
It's so rich and creamy and subtle and balanced. And then you get this nice surge of effervescence, and the smoke is just wrapped around everything here. Oh,
in a good way. It's not overly ashy. It's
decadent. Yeah, and then there's this really nice, like honeydew melon cantaloupe kind of like mealy sweetness, fruit sweetness that goes through it. You know, bordering on tropical, but it just works so well with the bourbon notes, which are all like light brown sugar, obviously vanilla. There's a little bit of like a slightly charred oak thing, and it just works.
That's what I love about this compared to the 16. Is like this one's got the honeydew and the cantaloupe, and it's got like some watermelon, and it's in your face. It's not. It's funny. Like the nose might be a little subtle, and you might have to really dig to get some of these complex notes.
No doubt.
The palate just fucking destroys you in the face. I mean, in a good way. And it's not like spicy like a Koryavrek in that regard. This one's got like the creamy vanilla. It's also got like the honey, huh?
It's like a mocha, like a cafe mocha mixed with like some type of herbal tea. Like but everything is like working off of each other.
Oh man,
nice little saltiness on the end, like salted caramel. There's a nice, like slightly makes you like mouth-watering saltness.
I was thinking of a salted pretzel kind of thing. Like a salted pretzel with like a little caramel sauce on it or something.
Yeah. No, that's even better. Okay.
Oh man, I'll go back for a nose.
This is a different animal indeed, man.
I'll go back for a nose and tell me if you get anything different, or are we going the same kind of subtleties?
Well, I'm gonna do a little bit of water here. I just did a little bit of water, and again, I get a lot of like brisket, like meaty, like vinegar barbecue sauce. It's tangy, it's sweet.
Yeah. This does have like what is that called?
Mesquite, almost like mesquite.
It's almost like a not Chinese, but like Korean barbecue. Have you ever had like a Korean barbecue thing, like a bibimbap kind of thing?
Yeah.
It's
like kimchi. It's got the like fermented, but also the like sweet, savory spice.
Oh, I love some good kimchi and bibimbap.
Oh yeah, I feel you on that. Yeah, this is and that sandalwood thing too, which is hard to explain. It's like a sweet sandy, like it's. How do you explain sandalwood?
Right? And a boatload of nutmeg too.
Yeah. It's like allspice. I get more of an allspice than a nutmeg, but
sandalwood to me reminds me of the really good head shops back in the 90s that had the really good incense.
Yeah. Bro. I know what you're talking about.
Not the patchouli crap, but the really good sandalwood. It has like a cedar kind of smell to me, like a really well done closet, like a woodworker's closet. Like someone just built like a really nice woodworking shop, and they were working with different things, and they had some cedar sandalwood stuff. Oh man, it's glorious. Wow.
What a whiskey.
And it's the perfect, the ABV is perfect, 53.9. You don't need water, even though I am going to put a little one down and see what I get. But
yeah, and when you
really enjoy it.
You get this nice surge of a concentrated, like vanilla nougat almond thing that just like fires through this after you get it on the initial palate, and it coats the mouth. And then it goes into like a nice milk chocolate, dark chocolate dichotomy.
That nougat, you nailed it with the nougat mix. This is like the best Mars bar I've ever had. It does. It tastes like if you get the chocolate, you get the vanilla, you get the peanuts, you get all the things that you would get in a Mars bar if you think about it.
Yeah, this is
Wow.
delicious.
I haven't had a Mars bar in probably 20 years. It's just really sad. Now I want one really bad.
And I mean, and not even like, you remember Almond Joy? There's a
Mm.
little coconut to this. There's a little bit of that coconut thing going on. By the way, folks, if you're enjoying this, man, take a second, give us a thumbs up, man. We appreciate you all spending your time with us tonight, as we do every week. Smash that thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to my good comrade here, Telex the Whiskey Tech, throw him a sub. Feel free to throw a sub to Malt Muser Whiskey Reviews as well. We we really enjoy going through this journey with everybody, and like I always say on my channel, man, we learn more from the good folks in the chat than we probably do from each other.
Yeah.
And it makes this even more fun. So we appreciate you guys hanging out with us every Tuesday, man. And the fact that we have the ability to share both of these just great whiskeys is really just in part because y'all hang out. So this is cool, man.
You're getting a lot better with your notes. I've noticed the coconut. You nailed that one too. It's got like
right there, bro.
That's a roasted coconut type of thing.
And I've been learning off of you. I mean, one thing I've learned off you a lot is florals. Like florals is something that has just been a freaking black hole for me, man. And I haven't been able to like figure out how to. Yeah. Oh yeah. Tell Dustin just brought up a good point. Smash that bell too. Walk into that. Yeah. Ring the bell.
Yeah, thanks for don't forget that.
And yeah, by the way, if you're, and I mentioned this on my happy hour, and I'll mention again, like take a second and subscribe to Top Shelf Whiskey. It was formerly Mike's Whiskey Reviews. So if you're not subscribed to that, head on over and do it. Mike is fucking fantastic, and he's teamed up with Dustin, who knows a shitload about whiskey. They're doing like higher end whiskey reviews, I think, every week.
Nice.
Worth checking out. I just caught their review of the Balvenie 14 Week of Peat that came out last week. So y'all take a sec, open up another web browser, what you got to do. Smash that sub for them, man. They're good peoples. This is great, man. This is
It's one of the most complex whiskeys I've had in a long time. And it's funny, if there's a lot to miss if you don't take the time to sit back and go through the motions like you did with and the water, like I think helps too with the journey. Oh my.
Yeah, I just want to give before we go too further into the indulgence, I also want to give a thumbs up to our chat moderators tonight, Daniel, Andrew Page, Jason Coates, man. Appreciate y'all diverting your euphoric whiskey drinking experience to keep the chat running and stuff. We deeply appreciate that, man. It's super cool, and we love hanging out with you guys. And so
good to see you, Chris. Welcome to the party. You're never too late, man. If hopefully you have a Lagavulin to join with us, either the 16 or the 18, either one, or an 8, 9, 11, 10, whatever you want to bring. I'm even going back and had another sip, and now it's crazy. Now I'm getting citrus fruit. Now I'm getting lime and lemon and oranges, and it's crazy but good. It's forever rotating.
So good. I'm ready to go with my final score on this tasting. Can you remind me the price on this one?
Oh, now the price. Now that's where it gets a little more interesting because unfortunately this is limited. It is from 2018. I can tell you, hopefully, give me 1 second if I can maybe bring it up in some notes. I did get this a long time ago. So, well, a long time for me, a few years ago. In 2018 is when I got it. So I got to do a little digging. I want to say, oh man, what did I get with this? Sorry I didn't have this on the ready. If I remember correctly, I did get this via auction, and it was a little pricier than usual. I think it was around $230.
Okay.
I believe was
look, man. I take value into account of my final scores, and I think that's the only difference. We use the same scale. Otherwise, we kind of go by the distiller scale, distiller.com scale. I am amazed at, while my suspicion is that both of these are just kind of your ex bourbon maturations. Maybe there's some sherry. The difference between 2 years here is noticeable. That 16 was great. This is next level. Is it $230 next level? I don't know. But I'm going to put, because it's a Feis Ile release and this is a limited release, I mean, would I pay over $250 for this? No. But in terms of like the quality, the spirit that we're dealing with here, we've jacked up the ABV. The complexity is even higher. I am just absolutely enjoying this. This is a dessert dram. This reminds me of like what a Compass Box spice tree at cast strength might taste like with an age statement. It's that level of the kind of rounded middle spices of allspice and nutmeg combined with great bourbon notes, a lot of smoke and a good finish. Really enjoying this, Telex. Thank you again for this on this one. I mean, this goes up and above the 16 for me. Obviously, I'm stuck between 4 and 4.25. I think I'm going to go 4.25 on this out of 5. I just think this is just a fantastic pour. And it's really just a statement about Lagavulin and their quality. Yeah, I'm going to go 4.25. I'm really bullish on this, on the 18 Feis Ile.
Dustin gave me a good props on the price thing there. That's a good value. Hopefully,
So for like the scale that we use, I know there are some folks who use the like 100 scale. For me, a 90 is a 4. So a 4.25, this is like a 92.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. The only difference for me is this one is a special bottle for me. It's so damn complex. There are better 18 bottles out there. I will agree, but man, for what I've had through Isla, thinking back, I mean, some of these guys, even the non-peated ones, the Bunnahabhain 18, the Kilkerran just got a 16 released, which is good that we'll be doing later on down the road. Lafroig 18, of course. I do enjoy this one a lot more than the Lafroig 18, I will say. I think the ABV does play a big role with that. You can definitely detect it on the palate. Not so much in the nose, but that's, to me, is actually a great thing that I don't get a lot of menthol and burning, sensations, or I don't get a lot of masking where I'm not able to get a lot of notes out on the nose as far as because of the ethanol or whatever. But it's the palate in finish is so damn good. And it still rolls just as much as the 16 as far as the length of the finish to me.
Yeah.
I still got a lot of good smokiness, billowing. I'm going to go, I know Malt said 4.25 for him. I'm going to go 4.5 for me. It's really hard to find how you can make this dram better for me outside of the coloring and chill filtering crap. I don't think this is colored, though. I really don't. I'd be surprised if this had any coloring in it because it's such a base, like yellow. Nothing is dark about this. It feels natural to look at comparatively. If you pour this next to a 16, I mean, look at that color. That's a glorious amber. Yeah. That's what an 18 that doesn't have. And is there sherry in this one? That's a good question too. I know that
I don't detect it much, but
on this one, I don't. Maybe on the 16, a slight tinge of Oloroso sherry. On this one, I don't detect any sherry notes at all. I do detect some fan-fucking-tastic, the American and the European oaks.
It's almost like first fill bourbon, man. It's just so fucking ridiculously good.
It's like, how do they do the rejuvenated? I mean, do you know anything about the rejuvenation process? I never really looked into that as far as what the distilleries do.
It's hit and miss as far as I understand. I can't speak much of it because I don't know, and I don't like to speak out of turn on shit I don't know. Maybe
I'm the same way.
Might be able to give us some information on that. But I mean, I think the general consensus here was that, like, look, I mean, if you can get a unique Feis Ile release or like any other unique release from Lagavulin that you otherwise can't find at the stores, like you're probably in for a treat. I mean, I wouldn't go overboard and spend $300 on something like this, but dude, this is fantastic whiskey. And I agree with you, Telex. Like, one of my favorite 18s ever, which is discontinued, is that Lafroig 18. And man, this probably it's a little bit more heavy than that one is in terms of like some of the bourbon notes. But man, what a whiskey! You know, what I want to do right now for myself is I have a bottle of the Lafroig Jazz Fest 2018, and I kind of want to just throw a little bit of this in my glass just to kind of like get my brain.
Yeah. That's a good idea. While you're doing that, I want to ask the guys if you guys know, how does Lagavulin do their rejuvenation process? Because if this is refill and rejuvenated American oak hogsheads and ex-European oak butts, that tells me that it's weaker stuff that they're using. So whatever they're doing to rejuvenate this has got to be like top notch, because it does taste like a first fill to me, just like Eric was saying. It has that kind of feel to it. We've had our share of first fills both on the bourbon side and the sherry side to know the difference.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Wow, this Jazz Fest. It's like it's very similar in profile.
Are the notes like the
yeah, very similar. So this is the 2018 Jazz Fest. So just so folks are clear, so there's Feis Ile, which is like an Isla festival every year, and then they have a thing called Jazz Fest, which Lagavulin is a big part of. This one is first fill American oak, refill oak hogsheads, and European oak puncheons. So there's probably some sherry in this. 58.5%. I have to
it's a little higher.
Yeah, but I have to say, in terms of its like viscosity and complexity, it's like right there. There's no age statement on these, but man, wow.
I wonder if it's because they probably just have some really old stuff and some young stuff with it, maybe.
Yeah, this has got more of the like peach nectarine kind of like yellow fruit kind of thing going on, but right there with the Feis Ile, right there.
I think Dustin nailed it with the. He asked me, did I not say bodega cask? And it does have specifically the ex bodega European oak butts was part of the equation. He said that the real ex bodega casks added insane amounts of higher quality flavors. So there you go. That must be where they're getting their top notchness from.
Yeah.
I've never heard of the bodega type of casks like that. Have you seen that before in a whiskey, Dustin? I'm just curious. Anyone else? I'm just curious if you can find this type of profile, or if you know of any other bodega type of casks used in a well-known whiskey. I'd like to try it. That's for sure.
Yeah. So Telex, let me know when it's time, but I'd like to revisit something I mentioned earlier, the Distiller's Edition versus regular release component of Diageo.
Yeah, we could talk about that, because that is important. It's one of those. It's funny because Lagavulin doesn't usually dabble in other cask types. Definitely the sherry thing they don't really get involved with, but that's the PX in it.
So, yeah, and like give folks the heads up. So Diageo owns, half the world, especially when it comes to whiskey. But one of the things that they do is they release a Distiller's Edition every year of like a lot of the distilleries that they own. One of those is Lagavulin. Each distillery, they have their own basically different like sherry wine finish. In the case of Lagavulin, they add a PX finish. If you've had anything with PX before, PX is a very sweet, kind of cloyingly sweet Spanish sherry. So much sweeter than Oloroso. And so if you ever find a Lagavulin Distillers Edition, basically what you're getting is a Lagavulin 16 with a PX finish. And I have normally in my, well, the way I've thought about it, I've been more of a fan of the Distillers Edition Lagavulin than the 16. And I have to say that I do really enjoy the Lagavulin Distillers Edition. I like the fact that at the end of, on the finish especially, you get this blast of a sweet PX, sweet fruit note that you otherwise don't get on the 16. But here's what I'll say. I have to mention that, again, I've only had a couple of the more recent year releases. Having tasted the Lagavulin 16 tonight, I feel like the Distillers Edition may take a little bit away from the depth and kind of merit or marine complexity that you get out of Lagavulin 16. So I'm almost changing my position a little bit of like, get the Distillers Edition versus the other one versus like, get both if you can, but if not, maybe just 16. I don't know. I feel like that PX takes a little bit away from it, which I never would have said before revisiting the 16 tonight. So this has been a very a learning experience for me. And again, half the reason we do this is more than half. I mean, we learn more from our good whiskey comrades than anything. And I'd be curious if anybody has opinions about this. I know this is a sort of a nuanced question, but like in the case of Talisker, I love the Talisker Distillers Edition more than the Talisker 10. But in the case of the Lagavulin 16, I'm like a little bit on the fence. I'm starting to actually wonder if we lose a little bit more from that PX finish of the distinct qualities that make up the Lagavulin 16 that we otherwise would get. This might be a fun thing to do as a head-to-head at some point in time, Telex. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I was reading what Dustin was saying. It's funny how in a lot of this, a lot of the newer guys, you do have to remember that yes, all of us know a little bit about this and that and here and there, but some of this stuff is subjective. So if you are a sherry fan in general, like you just love PX sherry, that's the type of person that I would definitely go for the Distillers Edition. I like it a lot. It's one of my favorites too. Dustin was saying that he likes the 12 and the Distillers, and he would skip the 16 and the 8. That's his feel. To me, it's funny. I'm agreeing on the skip the 8 because I'm not like a big fan of straightforward peated ex-bourbon drams. It's just not my thing. Some people love it, and if you do love it, Lagavulin 8's up your alley. The first version of Bunnahabhain's Choichek is up your alley, that kind of thing. But if you do like sherry, I would definitely skip the 8 and the first Choichek. I would go for the second Bunnahabhain Choichek, that Aha, and go for the Distillers Edition. That's me. My own personal thing is if I'm rating, my least favorite of the Lagavulins is the 10, the Travel Retail exclusive.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
Thanks to you, I avoided buying that because I was all over it otherwise.
It's horrible. It's one of the worst drams of any distillery I've ever had, and that's saying something. The 8, I would personally skip, but if you're a big bourbon fan, I would go for it. The 9, I love it. I like the 9.
8 can go toe to toe with a few others, but
yeah, but I'm just going. I'm giving you my subjective feel on how I rate them. So I would go 8. I would probably skip. 10, I would definitely skip. 11, I would probably try if you're a wood fan. If you don't like oaky, woody whiskey, skip it. If you like it, then go for it. The 12 is a definite, I would go all in. You got to get the 12. Everyone seems to like it to a certain degree. It looks like, one second, where was that? I missed, yeah, he would get the 12 as well. I like the 16. I would not skip the 16. But I also like the distiller's edition. The only one I really don't get into that much is the 8 and 10 out of the Lagavulin series are my least of the favorites. And it's not just because of the age by any means. It's the taste profile of it. I just,
Sure.
but I like all the rest of them. It's rare for me to find a Lagavulin that I don't like, we'll put it that way.
Yeah, I hear you. No, that's a good point. Yeah, so since we're getting a little bit close to the end of the show, I thought.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Stephen Connor is trying his first Lagavulin Distillers edition right now.
Yeah. Do let us know what you think, because this is germane to what we were just talking about.
I thought he's had it before. You've never had it before there, Stephen? That can't be right. You must have had at least one version. Because, I mean, I've had a couple of bottles of that stuff.
I think Stephen Connor's going to really like it.
I mean, he's not a PX fan, though. I mean, well, he likes some PX stuff. He's not. I don't think PX is his favorite type of sherry, so that might affect what he's thinking. But we'll see. I am curious to see what he thinks on that.
So I was going to say, since we're getting to the end of our 2-hour show, I just wanted to give a little preview of what's coming up, if you're good with that, Telex. And by all means, folks, if you haven't yet, take a second, smash that thumbs up button. It does more than you know to help promote our 2-hour Telex and Malt Tasty Tuesday show, man, and we appreciate all the support and love hanging out with you guys. So we want to give you a little bit of a preview of what we're going to be tasting over the next couple of weeks. Next week, we are going to Campbelltown, where we are going to be doing
Long Road, baby.
we're going to be doing one of Springbank's. We're going to be doing Springbank's heavily peated line, which is called the Long Row. We're going to be doing the Long Row 11 Pinot Noir cask, and then we are going to be doing the Long Row brand new of last year 13-year-old Chilean Cabernet Sauvignon. These are both whiskeys you can find if you hunt a little bit. They're in that $100 to $120, $130 range. They're going to be a lot of fun. I think Telex is going to especially love these samples. After that, on the 16th of March, it's St. Patrick's Day Eve. So what are we going to do? Some Irish.
Baby.
Some good Irish whiskeys. We got 2 lined up for you. In hour number 1, we're going to be doing Napogue Castle 14-year-old Twinwood, which, full disclosure, is amazing. And in hour number 2, the almighty ass kicker of Irish whiskeys, Redbreast 21. So we got that coming for you. And then after that, we're heading to Kilhoman. We're going to do the new USA Batch 3, and then some incredible bottles that Telex got, slightly peated drams from Kilhoman, picked by one of the best, if not the best, whiskey bar in America, Jack Rose Distillery in Washington, D.C. We're going to be doing the slightly peated bourbon and slightly peated sherry. And that's going to be fun in the second hour. To round out March, this one I can't wait for. In hour number 1, we are doing the Balvenie 21 Portwood, followed by the Balvenie 14 Week of Peat, a peated Speyside Balvenie whiskey. I cannot wait. We have a ton of great content coming up for y'all. And we're looking forward to the conversations and to share our dumb 2 cents about these whiskeys as we get through March. So if you haven't yet, smash the thumbs up, subscribe to Telex the Whiskey Tech, throw a sub to Malt Muser Whiskey Reviews. We got a ton of great stuff that we're going to bring you. And Telex, just to be, make it even more magnanimous, this month is our 1-month anniversary of doing our show.
Nice. Doesn't seem like it's been a year already, though.
We've been doing this ever since, we've been doing this since COVID, the COVID happened, and we're going to continue it through it. So you guys can depend on us for 3 hours of whiskey chat, my happy hour, and then 2 hours of Telex and Malt every single Tuesday. We appreciate you guys, of course, for tuning in, hanging out, showing your support. This is a lot of freaking fun. And as I've always said, we learn more about our own journeys from friends like you than we do from friends like ourselves. So that is how it goes. Telex and I can sit here and talk the same all day, but y'all bring so much depth and experience and content to this, man. And it's a great space for just talking good whiskey. So we appreciate y'all and hope you guys are interested in what we got coming up for you in the next month.
Did you see this one from Dustin as far as the spending of that? Did you?
Yeah. Well, I think it's maybe gone up. I paid $120 in New Jersey for it. You're talking about the Chilean one, 13. Yeah, it might be a little bit more now, but
gotcha. Quarter cask and triple wood over the Laga 8. I would. That's just me. I'm not going to tell people what to pick up, but I prefer the. If you're talking about the Lagavulin, not Lagavulin, but the Laphroaig quarter cask and the Laphroaig triple wood, I do enjoy those a little more than the Lagavulin 8, but that's just, me. Let's see here. Still think 2003 Week Peat is the best $100 or less peated whiskey you can still find. 2003 Week of Peat. I didn't even know they were doing them back then. So that'd be a tough find, you would think. Team COVID. Yeah. I would go Laphroaig cask, quarter cask first. Yes. If it works with you, then try the triple wood, which is more expensive. Yeah. And it also depends on if you like the woody whiskey. I'm not a big fan of the really heavily oaked woody whiskey. I personally would skip the triple wood, but I do like the cask strength version of the triple wood they released for the carriages a couple years ago. But the quarter cask definitely is awesome. Hey, Eric, here we go. Haven't had the distiller edition before, he said, Stephen, but maybe in a drunken stupor. Very nice. I did go from Lagavulin 12 to this, so big ABV difference, but I like that it's not overly PX sherry, more like the 16. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He just tried the distiller's edition for the first time, and it sounds like he liked it more than the 16. So that's actually a good sign. I detected a lot of the PX, but I think I'm really sensitive to it because I enjoy it a lot. So for me, I'm glad that I was able to get a lot of the PX sherry out of that distiller's edition. But yeah, let's get through this plague. That's for sure. The Isla Street. First, yeah. Laphroaig was the Carriages Triple Wood. That's a great bottle. I like that one. Long Row Red is 139 in Tennessee. There you go. The spring mix are getting tough in Kentucky. I can imagine, man. They're getting tough to get anywhere, it seems like. Oh, the 3 is a vintage, not a release date. Gotcha. Okay. I was going to say, what was the release date on that one, Stephen? Oh, it's 14 years, so I'm not going to do math right now, but I think it's 2017. 2017, I'm just going to go with that. Carriages Triple Wood is amazing. Just got my 3rd bottle of it. Wow. Andrew really likes it. I do enjoy it. I do enjoy it. The Balvenie Peat Week is overpriced for what the bottle is decent. That's how Balvenies roll. Yeah, I mean, at least they're not as bad as Macallan. I think anyone would agree with me there, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I agree with you.
It's not a PX bomb by any means. No, I agree with you there, Stephen. I think if it was a PX bomb, I don't think it would be as enjoyable, even for me, because I do have a line where I have to draw where that sweetness, is kind of.
It gets a little much.
I appreciate the feedback, Daniel. That's very cool, man.
Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it too. I'm actually I'm going to sign off Telex.
All right, man.
Deal with, so I will. I'll see everybody next week. Like I said, I am on my channel this week. Shameless plug. It is all Irish whiskeys for the month of March because it's St. Paddy's Day, and I'm long overdue to review a bunch of good Irish whiskeys I have. So if you haven't yet, smash subscribe. You'll get to check out all my reviews, and I appreciate everybody's support. As always, man, y'all are the best. At the risk of sounding like a broken record, Telex and I can speak for myself, but I can definitely speak for probably Telex too. we learn as much about whiskey from y'all as we do from each other, and so we deeply appreciate like each and every week hanging out with you guys and going on this journey together. So much love. Everybody take good care of themselves, and I'll see you next week.
Just launch it off for now, man. See you next week, and it'll be fun to get those long rows out.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be fun, man. Everybody be well. See you next week.
See you, man. All right, let's just catch up on some comments here. I mean, 48% and 14 years old seems reasonable at $100 to me. I'll agree. That is solid. 48%, 14-year-old whiskey, $100. That's what you're shooting for. I hear Total Wine's Greenstone isn't bad, and it's cheap Albany stuff. Is Greenstone, is that an area, or is that I'm not familiar. I know Total Wines, but I'm not sure about the Greenstone thing, unless it's like a release that they did. What's your current daily go-to scotch if you have one? Right now, man, I do have a lot that I've been going through. And, oh man, daily sipper type thing. I would have to say I was really enjoying. Let me get my list out here, because thankfully I have a little cheat sheet where I started doing for myself, where I have all my bottles in a list where the open and non-open and that kind of stuff, is in a list where I can keep track of it a little better. That said, I would have to say, other than the Lagavulin 16, which has been a staple for many weeks here recently, I've been really enjoying off and on. I mean, it's not like a daily sipper by any means, but we'll be doing a show on the Speyburn 25. I think that one is tasty. The Edgejar 21, extremely tasty. The Liquid 12 has been kind of a nice touch and go. The Oakley 18 after water, and that'll be a fun show to do. The Deanston Virgin Oak, I think I'm going to have to say, out of all the things I've been going through lately, my current go-to daily sipper scotch, and big thanks to Aquavite Roy. He's my whiskey Obi-Wan Kenobi, basically. If I was like, Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, I got, bad vibes. But if I had to pick if I'm the Padawan and I had to pick somebody that kind of had good advice over the years that I never even met, never really talked to, but has been generous, has given me lots of great advice, other than Mr. Steven and some of the guys like Dustin and guys in here already. But as far as like people that have like an actual channel that do their thing and they don't ask for anything in return, they just, are giving a whiskey education kind of to the masses. I'd say Aquavite is definitely up there in the top 2 or 3 by far. And he was the one that got me bitten by the Deanston bug. And once I got into Deanston, I realized how great they really were. And Drew from the Scotch for Dummies were always a big proponent for Deanston as a distillery, which opened my ears and eyes and taste buds to what they have to offer. And that Virgin Oak, for the price, you can't really go wrong with that, I don't think. Some people don't like the profile, I know, the make of Deanston's distiller, but I like it a lot, so I'm down with it. Nobody has passed McKillen, but Balvenie is definitely priced over the odds, at least here. Yeah, I agree big time with that one, man. I actually think Balvenie Peat Week or Week of Peat is their best value bottle. That's actually a good statement, I'd say, because their other stuff might not be, but that one is very well priced, I have to say. My brother and I got spoiled. Yeah, cheers to Eric. I do love that 2003 Peat Week now. Happy I went back to it. Yep. I might need a backup still in the shelves. Uh-oh, that's not good. Let's see. Oh, wish Balvenie 15 Sherry Cask was $100. It used to be. I'm trying to think. Last time I bought it, which was 3 or 4 years ago, it was $110. I think you can still get it. Let me see what Petite's selling it for. I think they would definitely have a bottle because Petit is their top 3 selling whiskey of all of them. And these guys do have really good prices usually. Let's see what you guys think of some of these prices. So, Balvenie Week of Pete 14-year-old, $99.97. Is that too high? Probably is. Dustin, let me know what you think. I got the Portwood 21 from there for $230. Yes, it's expensive, but it's a 21-year-old Portwood whiskey, so I thought $230 was probably a pretty decent deal. Hopefully, I didn't get toasted on that one. They've got the double wood 12 for $56.97, so 57 we'll say. They've got the double wood 17 for $150. The sherry cast 15-year-old for $110. They got it for $109.97. I think that's a pretty good deal. So I know where you can get that for $109.97 there, Cohen, here in Maryland at least. Aloha to Mr. One. I appreciate it. Got a few recently at $65 each. Wow. Let's see. Disable the price, and I got a case discount. Oh, exclusive Total One thing that is cheap and 40 ABV stuff. Gotcha. I would have bought a case of that 15-2 at that price. Great find. Wow. Always most of our Scotch OP1. Yeah. He is something else, man. Yeah. Dean Love is what got me into Roy's channel. That's true. I bought a half case of Kilclarn 12 for $59. That's a great price, man. I remember 3 or 4 years ago, I was paying $65 to $70 for the Kilclarn 12. I wonder what they have it now. Let me see what Petite's selling it for now, just out of curiosity. Kilclarn. Oh, he just has the heavily peated for $95. He doesn't have the 12 anymore. Man, they sold all their Kilcairns. They only have the heavily peated left. That says something, guys, because I got my work. I got all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bottles of Kilcairn back there. I got the Works in Progress, the Cast Strength Bourbon. I got the Sherry Wood Work in Progress from there, the Cast Strength 8, the 12-year, the Single Cast 15 Oloroso, and the new 16. I actually did not get from there, but I got that through Malt. We'll be doing a show on that in the near future. But that's I think it was 65 to 70. I want to say maybe 75. I think it might be 75. So that's a great price on that, man. Cohen, you got a hell of a deal. Have you seen the Deanston 12 cast strength? I'll give it a thumbs up. I have not seen the 12 cast strength. If I saw it and I was looking for a daily sipper, man, I would jump all over it. If he liked it, gave it a thumbs up, it's probably pretty good, I have a feeling. That's my guess. How's the week of Pete compared to the 2003? I had a sample of the Deanston 12 for the first time. Home run. Wow. There you go. Under $100 for the 14-year Pete stuff is great. Yeah. Cheers to Daniel. I agree. I got my Pete of Week for $95. It's close. It just doesn't hit all the notes. I think 12, like a 112 batch variation. Yeah. The 12 is a hitter for a core age bottle. Yeah. Do you have an a favorite Old Pulteney? Yes, I do, man. And I'm talking like the last run and this present run. The last run, my favorite by far is the 21. Second place is the 17. Both great, great, great whiskeys. The Old 12, I was not a huge fan of. I know a lot of people love it. It just didn't tickle the ivories for me. I don't know. I just never was a big fan of Old Pulteney's base distillate. It just didn't ring my bell. But once I got into the older stuff, the old make, the 17 and 21, top notch, solid, love it all day. I bought the 17 for around 120 to 130. The 21 I got for like 160, and those prices were perfect. Wouldn't complain in any way at all. Now you fast forward to present day Old Pulteney. Now we haven't done the show yet, so I'm not going to ruin it or jump the gun. I will say that the new 18 is good, but you got to use water. For me personally, I won't get into the weeds just yet. Watch the show when it comes out, hopefully soon. But that one just didn't hit like the 15. The new 15 is rock solid. It's a rock star. It's the best of the whole line to me. I even had the 25 and like the 15 better for some reason. I don't know what it is about the new 15, but the new 15 had a sweet spot for me. You can still find the old 17 at Petite for 140. Surprisingly, that's the one I would buy if I was going to put money into Old Pony. I would get the old 17 or the old 21. If you got the new one, I would get the 15 first before the 18. If you had to get one, and I don't see them having the new 15, I think it sells really fast. If you do get the 18, the new one, then definitely be prepared to play with some water because it's something. It's a ride, man. I hate you guys with Costco's and Total Wines. We've got Total Wines, but I don't think it's hard to find a Costco around here that sells alcohol. That's the tough part. So I'm with you on that one, Dustin. Definitely. That's a good price on the 15, but you can't see the bottle. I want dark ones, and you have to see the bottles to know. Yeah. I would say that thankfully I live close enough where I can go to Petite and look at the bottle and see what I'm dealing with, or say, hey Tom, find me a bottle that I'm gonna like. Thankfully, I do so much business with these guys that they will do me some favors on the side to make sure I get a good bottle of something, especially since I spend a good chunk of money at that place. But yeah, it's a good point. Definitely, if you're going for a Balvenie 15 single barrel, look at the bottle to make sure you're getting the new one. No problem, Steven. Thanks for coming by. I'm about wrapping it up here in a little bit. I appreciate you coming by. There were dark and dusty. Ooh, I like dark and dusty, man. Thanks, I appreciate it, Daniel. I try, man. We try, definitely. That's why I bought a half a case of the 12. I bought all that. Yeah, $59, man, is a crazy price for a 12-year, as good as the craft. What's great about Kilkerran and Glengyle is the distillery that does Kilkerran, but Glengyle is right there with Springbank. The craft is done so well that I don't see how, man. Yeah, Old Pulteney 17 is beautiful. That old one is. I love it. And I can still buy it, thankfully, locally for 140 because, ironically, Old Pulteney does not sell well in Maryland. I was talking to my Maryland guy, and he was like, of all whiskeys, you'd be surprised that it's really tough to sell Old Pulteney here for some reason. Don't know why, but I did enjoy the Old Pulteney 15, the new one. Finished the bottle last year. Yeah, that's a good one. The 17 and 21 are great, especially 21. Yeah, that's the problem. But if you're going to get new stuff, get the new 15. If you get the new 18, get your water ready. I know where some Balvenie 15s were from 5 years ago. Wow, man, 120. That's actually I would pay 120 for if I knew it was a solid Balvenie 15 first fill. I would actually go that high. I know it's crazy to say that, but it's such a damn good whiskey. Some of the not so old 15s can still be dark as heck. Yeah, that's true. That is very true. Yeah, I guess it's like, is there sister distillery or some shit? But yeah, basically you got Springbank, which does the regular stuff. The least peated is the Hazelburn. The most peated is the Long Row. And then they also have the sister distillery Glengyle, which does your Kilkerran releases. It's something else, man. But the craft is top notch at these guys. Only you mean owned and employed by the same people. I'm not even going to try. Oh, if you mean owned and employed by the same people, yeah. And they share malt from Springbank. 4 maltings. Okay, do they mature in the same warehouses? That's a good question. Because I knew that they use the same kind of floor malt stuff, but I don't think they do the same maturation. That's my I'm doing an assumption here, and I don't want to make an ass out of anybody, but I do think that they probably do not mature in the same warehouses, because why would you call it a different whiskey if it's all, the same kind of thing? Then I don't know. We'll see. We don't get the new Old Pulteney here in Hawaii. It's on its way. Old Pulteney is owned by Thai Bev, and Thai Bev also owns Ball Blair, and they do Speyburn, and they do Enoch. They are in the midst of changing lines on some of these whiskeys, and Old Pulteney is the one that they're presently in the midst of switching over. They just did Ball Blair also. They're not releasing new Ball Blair whiskey until the old stuff sells. That is a fact that I've heard from a lot of these places, because I've been trying to find the new Ball Blair stuff in America, and it's hard to find because they don't want to release it when they still are selling the old 83, the old 99s, the old 90s, the old 2005s, 2003s, vintage statements from Ball Blair. So if you want to see new stuff in your area, find some people to buy the old vintage Ball Blair stuff. That's all I can tell you, because they're not going to release it in your area until they sell the old stuff first. Love to find some old dusty old Pulteney 21s. Yeah, Petite had some for a bit for like 160. They sadly sold out pretty fast. They still have some old 35-year-old stuff, believe it or not, but it's $8.99.97. So if you want to spend $8.99.97 on a whiskey, I can shoot you for an old 35-year, but I definitely cannot say yes or no on if it's worth it on that one, man, because that's probably pretty dusty. Finishing the night with a Scarab Hunter Lane, Mystery Island Ale. A great value for $35, and it could be a 5-year-old Bunnahabhain. That's interesting. Is it peated, Andrew, or not peated? I'm curious. Hopefully it's actually not peated, because I would love to hear what an independent Bunnahabhain that's not peated, what it tastes like. I'm curious on if it's good. Because I love the 12. I like the Sturlia Dare. I do love the 18. I mean, it's rare to find a Bunnahabhain that I don't like, really. The only one I didn't really care for as much, maybe the Cabernet finish was not as strong as I was hoping for. Wasn't too much of a fan of the first version of Choi Chick, but all the other ones are pretty solid, I have to say. 120 for the 15. I knew to get it. It's crazy dark like a current. Wow, Glenelg 10 or 12. That's awesome, man. Cadenhead's warehouses for Springbank and everyone else. Yeah. Well, it's different still, I believe, but they opened that distillery. So they'd be 3 distilleries in the region, so they could stay a region. Oh, yeah. That's a good point, because you just have Glengyle, which does Kilkerran. You've got Springbank, of course. And Glen Scotia, those are only 3 distilleries in Campbelltown right now that I can think of. I think, wasn't there like a new one? Let me see something. I've got my cheat sheet out for new distilleries I've been monitoring. Let's see if there's any new ones that are supposedly in Campbelltown. I don't believe there are. We've got Abercrombie, which is a Lowland Perth distilling company. You got Avondurg, which is not one of my favorites. It's an island distillery. It's independent from the Isle of Lewis. You got Altavania. They're not really that new, but they just did their own Speyside release. It's a peated whiskey. It's okay. Lisa Bay, they've been doing some pretty decent stuff. That's Lowland. Anadel's Lowland. Arbeki's Highland. Ardnahoe's Isla. You've got Ardmaturin, which is Highland. Ballindock, which is Speyside. Barra, Island. Borders, Lowland. Brewdog, Highland. Clydeside, Lowland. Daftmill, Lowland. Deeside, Highland. Dornoch, Highland. Edenmill, Lowland. Glasgow, Lowland. Glenveus, Highland. Harris Island. Holy Rood, I believe, Lowland. Inchderny, Lowland. Kingsbarns, Lowland. Log Island, or Lag. Leven, Lowland. Lindor's Abbey, Lowland. Nicnean. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. I think it's Nicnean or something like that. That's a Highland. Ressay Island, Ross Isle, Speyside, Strathern Highland, Torvig Island, and Wolfburn, which is Highland. So I'm not seeing any news, sadly. Campbelltown distilleries. Most of these, ironically, are lowland. So we're going to get a boatload of new lowland distilleries, which I'm not sure how to take that. A few islands, which I'm excited about. I think out of all the ones I mentioned, the island and Speyside distilleries are the ones I'm kind of most excited to see more of. But yeah, the Highland ones, it could be decent. I mean, there's always some good ones, but I'm surprised there's no other than the Isla, Ardnahoe. I know Gartbrick was supposed to be a new one, but that kind of fell to the wayside. Gartbrick didn't make it, but I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's the only other. But I'm surprised that you don't see. I wonder why. Does anyone know why we don't see Campbelltown distilleries out there more regularly? I only want the old ball players. I know where I can get some in if I know the person that's got some. If they can ship, I will let you know where you can get some of these. Possibly, Jason. We'll see. Then like you get bit. Speaking of, I think it's time for another pour. I'm working on the Lagavulin 16 a little bit more. What the hell, right? Let's have a little more 16 on the side and then go back to the 18. Two glorious bottles. I am very happy. I like you two doing the show, Best Whiskey Show. You don't act pretentious people, but everyday guys at Telex. Oh, I really appreciate it, Mr. French. It's funny. I like a lot of music and a lot of art and a lot of whiskey that could be taken as something that's done by pretentious folks, or there's a lot of complexity to it, a lot going on. But we're just here to enjoy it, learn about it, learn from other people, and make the most of the situation we're dealt with. That's what it's all about for right now, man. Just trying to survive, really, and not waste money. That's what we like to do: survive and not waste money. Those are my two top priorities right now. I see some of the old 10-year ball players. Remember hearing that at some point. Yeah, for a few weeks, employees went over the Congo to make the. Oh, okay. That could be a big reason why they decided to do it. If there was like a lull in production or something, maybe. He was saying that Donner, he remembers that too. So I want more of a independent bottling of a highly peated Bruna. It's amazing. Yeah, I'm not saying that I dislike their peated. I want both. I want independent bottlings of no peated Bunnahavens and highly peated Bunnahavens. I want it all, man. I want it all. I want it all. I want it all. I never saw a Blueberry the Wall either. We only get the old Pulteney 12 here. Wow, that's crazy, man. There's got to be a better Scotch place there in Hawaii that's got some of these ball players in the wild for you, man. But maybe, I mean, even the old ones. Do you see the old ones in Hawaii at all? I'm just curious. I have some old ball player store picks from K&L, and one of them was a giant Sherry Monster. Ooh, which was it? Oh, it's a store pick from K&L. I gotta go to K&L and find some of their store picks. That's not something I've really dabbled in much. It is peated. I heard that Bunnahaven is. I heard that Bunnahaven is selling a lot of their peated casks to independent bottlings. Okay, independent bottlers recently. That's interesting. Well, I guess we'll see some of their stuff then. I still want to see some independents that are not peated as well, because I just want to see what they can do on the side. Heavily peated Bunnahaven. Calvinic is spectacular. One at Choi Chikaha, price went down here. Yes, you should get that, definitely. If you like Sherry, you'll love that second level, second release of the Choi Chik, I think. Recently got an independent peated, 12-year cast strength first fill sherry, but that sounds glorious. 11-year all bourbon. It's amazing. Wow. It's epic. Kendall Balbo Sherry. Wow, he's heard it's good as well. Have another put away in previous year's bourbon cast too. I'm gonna have to find some of these things. Dornock is going to be the killer in 10 years or so. Dornock from a Highland Independent, and Dornock is their own. It's also the location. Looks like independently owned. What makes you feel that way, Cohen? I'm just curious. What do you like about Dornock that you've heard? For any new distillery who doesn't want to make whiskey too regional style other than Islay, I'm for any new distillery that doesn't want to make whiskey too regional. Okay, yeah, I'm with you there, man. Don't lock yourself into a region unless you have to for some, style wise. Yep, I've got multiples on both ball blares. Great deal. Nice. I just opened this, but it feels really in your face peat to me. Some reviewers have considered the Scarabus a Kalila, but I've been drinking a lot of Kalila. Does it have any vegetal notes to it, Andrew? That's usually like if I'm doing a Portishead or a Chapter 7 or some of these independents, and I'm wondering if it's Kalila. Typically, the vegetal notes will, if the more vegetal it is, the more likely it's Kalila. If it's got slight vegetal, but just a smidgen touch, then it's probably Lagavulin. Lagavulin does a lot of side stuff too that they don't like people to know it's from Lagavulin, so you won't necessarily always hear Lagavulin. They might just say Isla or something, but they do some of these too. It just doesn't match. The new Ball Blair 25 is comically expensive. Yeah, I saw that too, Dustin, and I was like, these guys could pound sand. I might just get the new 18 and call it a day at that price. And I don't think they even have a new 21, which is really pissing me off. I'd rather get like a 21 age. I know that you're a bigger fan of the 18s and 15s actually, but I like some older stuff if I can get my hands on it. But I'm not going to spend a kidney to get it. That's for sure. I mean, they're rare, but just way off cast. But I'll trust you. Second that. Thanks, Ben. Dornock is the only new thing I'm excited for, and it's way too young to really get excited for. But why, Cohen? What is it about it that you're excited about? And have you guys heard of the Nick Nean, NC apostrophe NEAN? They have a new organic line that they're releasing. It reminds me a bit of the Spring Break Green. I'm wondering if it tastes similar or if it's just a complete sham, if it's decent. Has anyone tried any of the Nick Nean stuff? I have an 02, 99, and 90 stash, which had doubles of each. I hear you there, man. I love the 99, the first and second release. I love the 90. I had a second release, I think, of that one. And I've got my eyes on an 83 that I'm going to pick up. I cannot wait to get my hands on that. An 04 and 05. I appreciate it, man. Anytime, man. Definitely. Yes, last year, pre-tariff, TWE had a Ball Blair Vintage 28 for half the price of the new 25. Yeah, I mean, I can find the 83 Vintage for $400, and I think it's a 34-year-old whiskey. What the hell are they thinking? I think they've lost it, man. Oh, no Ball Blair at all. That's crazy, man. And have you? I'm assuming are you on the Big Island, or which island are you on? And how? I mean, I hate to be ignorant, but how easy is it for you to get from let's say you're on the Big Island, Hawaii, and you want to go to Oahu, or you want to go to Maui, or you want to go to what's that one that starts with the K? Kauai, I think it is. There's one that has a leper colony on it. I know you don't want to go there, but Kalawao, I think it is. But is it easy to get from island to island? Do they have ferries and shit like that? Or do you have to take a plane? I mean, that would be god awful if you had to take a plane every time you want to go to a different island. Because there's not much land, I know, out there in the middle of the ocean. So that's kind of got to be tough to find Scotch, man. I feel bad for you if it's I mean, hopefully you've taken the time to go and kind of look at other stores and islands and stuff, but you might not have that option. You're on Hawaii, Oahu. Do you go to the other islands? I'm just curious. 25's price and thought it was an error. It was the UK price. Yeah, it's like, is that in pounds? If it's in pounds, you think it'd be lower, right? I heard that the Portishead 8 is Lagavulin. I know the 100% proof is Kalila. That's correct. Yes. Good eye and knowledge on that one. Thompson Brothers own Dornoch, and they are quality freaks. It is around the area of Bubbler and Glamorganshire. It's the Dornoch Castle north of Highlands. Cool. Okay. That could be promising. I like quality freaks because I love quality assurance. And if you got a really good QA, then good info. We'll look into this. At any rate, the Hunter's Lane Scarabus Mystery Islet is worth it for 35. I'll definitely take a look for that too, man. That's 35 is crazy cheap. I'm surprised. Organic. I hate that marketing bullshit for even more in whiskey where there are no reason. Well, hold on. Okay, let me ask you this, Dustin. Now, when I think organic, I know I don't like it as used in the artisanal bullshit circles, but like if it's there's something organic about the carriages that was from the 2015 Lafroig where they did their own floor malting there at Lafroig. That kind of had an organic feel to it. The Springbank Green has more of a farmy earthiness to the barley. I don't know. I mean, organic might not be the best choice of words, but how else could you describe that type of feel to the whiskey? I'm just curious because it is different. Like if you had a Springbank Green or 12-year or 13-year or whatever, I'm sure you notice a huge difference from some of the other stuff. I did see an 83 for 500. Okay, well that's $100 overpriced, my friend. It's steep, but yeah. But if I can get it for 400, I'm gonna jump all over the 400. That's for sure. 100%. I hear you, man. It's getting late. I need to drink to prove my typing. Gotta catch a plane. That's crazy, man. I can't believe that. I mean, I can believe it, but that's depressing to have to get on a plane just to go to a different island. They don't have ferries? Is the water too choppy there? Is it too... I mean, you wouldn't think the water near Hawaii would be that crazy. It's the Pacific Ocean is a lot calmer than the Atlantic Ocean, from what I remember. So you would think it would be peaceful and not as, crazy. So why not have ferries all over the place out there? I'm just curious. Dornoch is going to be heavy stuff like Brora, from what they are saying. Old school style Highland stuff. Heavily distillate like macro malt like in Brora. I'm cool with that, actually. Hopefully that means like a heavy mouth coat. Well, like an oiliness to the whiskey. I like that type of style. I'm hoping that they do that. It does sound promising. But Nomic had the organic mediocre stuff. Okay, I never tried... trying to think. I like Benromic's. The Imperial Proof is one of my favorites. The Peat Smoke 2006. I like that one a lot. I've had. Did we have the organic recently? I think we did that one, didn't we? It was okay from what I remember. I don't. I'm not sure if it stood out as being as organic as the Carriages 2015 or some of the Springbank stuff. The green. I'm totally fine with locally grown stuff, but organic means you got it certified and paid someone to say it's organic. No. Yeah, I agree with you there, man. I'm thinking more like locally done, homegrown, farm-based, shelf to table. I mean, how do they say it? Table to shelf, shelf to mouth. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say, but yeah, that's when I think organic, I think locally grown. I guess is maybe instead of saying organic, maybe they should just label it locally, or just local. Maybe just use the word local instead of organic. Organic may not help the whiskey, but there's an aspect of agricultural impact in the world that remains relevant. Yeah, that's. The word choice is kind of weird. I think on Hawaii we have the best selection from all the islands. We're just not big enough to be important when it comes to allocation. That's really sad, man. Um, is it easy to ship whiskey to Hawaii? Are you able to order what you want overseas? I'm curious. Like if one decides, you know what, I want to try the new Benromic 21 that just got released, and I want to get it from Great Britain. Can you do that, or is it not possible in Hawaii? I don't know how the laws are there. Farm to belly, yeah, that's what I'm talking about there, Dustin. I had a spring bake green 2 years ago, and all I can remember is Ralph reviews where he shows a bunch of organic carrots. I didn't get carrots per se, but I did get some strange notes. I mean, it was very, very heavily vegetal compared to their other ones. It definitely tasted more like a Kalila than it did a spring bake, but not in a bad way. I had to play with a little bit of water and a little bit of oxygen to get the green where I wanted it, but it was an enjoyable dram after playing around with it for a bit. We had fairies, but a small group of Hawaiian activists were loud enough to stop it. So they thought that the fairies weren't enough to be environmentally sound, I take it. I don't want to get into politics here, but man, that's crazy. It's not just about, I mean, yes, it's about the environment. It's also about function and about, quality of life too. That's biodynamic is another gimmick to get in your wallet. Biodynamic. Well, thankfully, I haven't heard that one in whiskey yet, but I'm sure it's coming. That would be horrible if that's the case. If everyone went organic, we'd not be able to feed the planet. So there's a give and take. Really depends on what you're growing. Yeah. Paying someone for a token stamp. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those, artisanal and organic, those words. I'm all for just saying locally, either locally grown or locally produced, local, drop the all the extras from it. That would be pretty cool. But current AG, which relied on fossil fuel and fossil fertilizer, is just not sustainable either. Yeah, it's no easy answers to any of it. Yeah, it's funny how the world's even though with all this pandemic and illness and craziness and political crap that goes on and all the chammering and loudness. Thankfully, life in general is not that bad when you take a look at it. I mean, yes, there's people that are suffering and people that are in dire straits, but those of us that are blessed, man, count your blessings, be appreciative, be thoughtful. If you could find someone to help out, by all means, I think you should do it. I've been trying to be more conscientious when it comes to like charitable things, ways to get money / resources to folks that really not just can use it, but know what to do with it to make it, meaningful, things like that. So don't want to get all on a tangent, but, make it bigger, tastier, more sustainable. Natural ingredients. Yeah. Well, GMOs. Oh, God. If you can drink whiskey, you've won the life lottery. That's true, man. That is true. That's the way you have to look at it. And I really appreciate y'all coming by, having a dram with us, and going through all the motions. And there's nothing perfect about these two that we went over, but I think if you're going to buy a dram of an Isla, it's between the Lagavulin 16 and the Distiller's Edition, they're both pretty solid. And if you have already been around the 8, the 9, the 10, the 11, the all the usual suspects, and you like Lagavulin's profile, definitely by all means invest in a good solid auction / bottle of Feis Ile, either the Feis Ile releases, the Jazz Festival releases are really, really good. Well done. I haven't tried one yet. I'm going to have my first one when Eric shares one of his samples later down the road. But everything else I've had except the 25. Some of the older ones, 21, 25, I haven't had yet. But everything else has been pretty solid. The only one in Lagavulin, and even the folks at Diageo probably would agree with me if they wanted to be honest with themselves, they probably would say their 10 is probably not the most well-regarded whiskey that they produce. But with that said, it's the only one that I would take a hard pass on, where I would just refuse to even go down that road. Everything else, I think, is pretty damn rock solid. So, oh, thanks, man. Mom got this one for me. And salute to moms out there. Haven't seen her on the show in a while. I'm not sure what her and Dave are up to, but hopefully doing well there in Louisville. They actually are moving out to Nolan Lake in Kentucky, which is down out in Edmonson County, I think is how you say it. And I grew up around Rough River and Breckenridge County, so it's a whole nother deal. But I appreciate the gifts. So that's Mom sends it. You gotta put it on, man. Well, thanks a lot, guys, for stopping by, and I'll say Slanchavar for now. See you next Tuesday for another Tasty Tuesday, and hope you're doing well there in Hawaii, man. You gotta, take it easy, and hopefully things keep going well if they're going well, and if they're not going well for you, hopefully they get better really damn soon. See ya.